Here's how to remember the green cross code. First, find a safe place to cross, then stop. Stand on the pavement near the curb. Look all round for traffic and listen. If traffic is coming, let it pass. When there is no traffic near, walk straight across the road. Keep looking and listening for traffic while you cross.
Stay!
Well, now we'll all remember the green cross code and use it. Splink!
No, oh well, thanks very much anyway. Goodbye.
Townsend.
Hello, you know the Hornby double O model railway? Yeah. Do you have an R186 signal box?
Well, let's see. Yes, I got one left.
Great! They've got one, Mum.
Good old yellow pages. We're not just there for the nasty things in life, like a blocked drain or a broken window. We can help with the fun things, too.
Oh, hello, Ben.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Discover the incredible power of the Atari 520 ST. With the new Atari Discovery Pack, you can learn computer programming. You can discover talents you never knew you had. And create and play games as exciting as in any arcade. The new Atari Discovery Pack for less than £300.
This episode is supported by MonsterJoysticks.com. Level up your Raspberry Pi with our all-in-one arcade kit using genuine Sanwa arcade parts. Hello cave dwellers, and welcome to our first ever live stream from the cave. I hope you're all well. Thank you all for joining. What have we got? 157? And lots of familiar names there. Hello Alan, hello Heron and Chips, all the way from Sweden, I think. JJXB, thanks for joining us. And we've got lots of guests here in the cave as well. Come on round, guys, and say hello. We've got Gary, who you've seen before on the channel. Howard's also been on the channel before. Dr. Andrew Armstrong from the back office show. He's even put on his special t-shirt today.
Beautiful.
And we've got Andrew Dalton, who frequents many retro streams on YouTube, so you may have heard of him, but perhaps this is the first time you've seen his beautiful face. So thank you guys for joining us.
Oh, I went the wrong way.
And of course, the most important thing today are the machines that we're showing you. We've got the Atari Jaguar and the Atari Falcon, and these guys are going to rotate one at a time, but we're starting with Gary because they're his machines, they're his babies. So as it's a first for us from the cave, it's the first live stream. The first thing to say is if the levels are too low or too loud, just shout. We've got the chat up on the screen here so we can see what's going on. Tell us if we need to turn it down. Tell us if we're blowing your eardrums off. Just let it flow in the chat, and we're keeping an eye on it, and looking forward to chatting to you all. Hello Andrew. Hello Freddie. Great to see you all here. Gary, should we start with a game?
Yes.
Why don't you pick a game? We've put them all on the shelf behind us here. Gary's bought a great selection of games, and a lot of them are sealed, and he's very kindly said that he may open a few today. So we'll see what the requests are and what the other guys want to play. But what do you want to start with, Gary?
I'm going to do AVP.
AVP, okay. I think that'll be a popular choice. Do you want to put it in the slot,
Let's
Gary?
put it in the slot.
We need some sexy music for the putting in of the cartridge.
Wow, 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 wow.
Hello, Dimitri from Russia. Good to see you here. Do you want me to support the Jag CD while you put that in?
Yes, please. Thank you, sir.
There we go. Okay. So we've got a couple of different screens that we can show you. We can go to this one. So you can see us, the console, the chat, and the Jag, which is loading up now. Or if you prefer, this is option 1. Option 2 is this screen, which is a bigger gameplay screen, but you don't see the system, which isn't doing a lot right now, to be honest. So let us know which you prefer. I'm going to leave it on the big screen for now. I think that's probably the best. And yeah, as we're chatting, just put whatever questions you may have in the chat. We'll keep an eye on that. And I'm going to chat to Gary. Gary, this Jaguar, is it your original one?
No, I never had one originally. It was one of those things back in the day where I didn't have a lot of stuff I wanted. So I'm making up for it now I'm older.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So when did you get hold of this Jag?
So this was a couple of years ago. I sourced one, and I sourced one with the CD at the same time, which is good. And, you know, the CD actually works, which is
Yeah.
a bonus.
Yeah. So you got it, the CD was separate, or you got it with it?
No, I got it with it.
You got it with it. And
So,
what about, because you got a good games collection, did they all come with the Jag?
no, some of them did. A lot I just purchased, and a lot of them are sealed. But I didn't buy them knowing they were sealed. It was just a fluke.
Yeah. And we did actually open one of the sealed ones. Is it Katsumi Ninja?
Kasumi Ninja.
Kasumi
yeah.
Ninja. We opened that.
Ah, headband. Forgot.
We had a recent episode which was a show and tell when Gary bought these over originally, and he opened this game which was sealed and it didn't work straight out of the box, brand new. And Howard got the soldering iron out and managed to get it working again. So
Yeah,
it's lucky
good
we
old
had Howard
Howard.
here with us. So hopefully we won't have that problem again opening new games.
Wow.
New games that don't work.
Oh, hello. What are you doing, mate?
So Gary, what were you didn't have it first time around, but can you remember when it was launched?
I can't remember the exact month and year, but I remember as maybe in my mid-teens, being promoted and stuff in SD format, etc. And you kind of as an Atari user, it's something you knew you wanted.
Yeah.
But alas, we couldn't afford it. But it was one of those things, especially when I saw this, and you think, wow, that. I love Aliens. I have to have this game, and it turns out to actually be a pretty decent Jaguar game.
Yeah, because Aliens was supposed to be a launch title, but it was a year or even 2 years late, wasn't it?
It
took
was,
them a while to get it done.
Sadly.
But it was worth it. I mean, it's the biggest selling game on the Jag.
Yeah,
so,
and it does the texture mapping well, which a lot of the Atari Jaguar games don't do.
Yeah. Kanor, thank you very much for the sponsorship. I haven't actually set anything up to pop up on the screen if somebody sponsors or donates or however this works. So there's no fancy graphics flying up on the screen, but thank you. I appreciate that, mate.
Nothing in there.
Darren says he's opened a sealed Jaguar game many years ago and it had the wrong game in it.
Oh, wow.
Darren, what game did you buy and what game was in it? Gary won't be drawing any pictures of the Falcon or indeed any other pictures.
Did Chrissy ask that?
No, it was Mr. C.
Oh, snap!
You pay attention on the game there, Gary. Yeah, if you're a regular in the Discord channel, the RMC Discord channel, you'll know Gary. He's a regular in there. He even has his own room, such as his Patreon level. Gary's a patron. He has his own room, which he's chosen to call Gary's Room Pants Are Optional. I can assure you he's wearing his pants today. And, he does draw some interesting pictures.
People demand it.
Yeah. I'm just going to mute this stream because I think you can hear yourself in the headphones there.
I could. It was
better?
weird. It was creepy.
Yeah.
It's like, what I said to me?
Yeah. SMK, yeah, this is Alien vs Predator on the Jag. I missed if Darren replied, sorry. I'll keep an eye out for that. Tempest 2000 is... I'm 100% sure Tempest 2000 will make an appearance today, none such. Hi, Chrissy.
Die.
Chrissy says, I know Gary.
He knows me too well. Why did I let him out? Okay, guys, if anyone has any hints and tips, I'm lost.
There's a map button. If you hit the middle button for the map.
Oh.
There you go.
So,
as you're playing,
yes.
it will
it's been a while
fill out
since
the map
I
so you can
this.
see where you are.
That's quite cool, really.
And there's walls, because I had a little play on this yesterday. There's walls that don't look like doors at all, but they really are. And I don't think they're supposed to be hidden. They are just doors.
I remember when I first played this, when I first got the Jag, I got lost to start with. It's happening again.
Yeah. What do you think the strengths are of the Jag, Gary? Because it was sold as the first 64-bit system, wasn't it?
Definitely wasn't its strength. I think that hurt it more than anything because you know, it technically wasn't really a 64-bit, was it? It was a
It
bit
was-
of a crappy marketing.
Yeah, well, their marketing slogan was "Do the math," wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, we did,
to
guys.
them, the math was we've got the Tom and Jerry chip, the audio and the video chip.
Yeah.
Each of them 32-bit RISC chips, and according to them, if you do the math, that makes 64 bits.
Yes. Well, okay. Fair enough.
It's a bit like the PC Engine, isn't it? It used to have two 8-bit chips, so they said it was 16-bit.
Yes.
And the PC Engine was quite nice because it sat between the 8 bits and the 16 bits, didn't it, in terms of quality?
Yes.
Do you think the Jag sits between the 32 bits and the true 64 bits?
I kind of guess it does sit between.
I don't agree. I think it sits between the 16 bits and the
32s.
the others of that generation, so like the PlayStation ones and the
I mean, it definitely sits before them. It's just the Jaguar was. We said in our last video, it's just a complete mess. Really, it's it's too late to market, I think, and it just and everything. If it had better texture, I mean, the trouble is this game is really good. And it really shows off what you can do. Not many of the games do. So if you bought an Atari back in the day and you were buying the games and and your mate had a PlayStation 1 or whatever, you were gonna just feel gutted, like you'd been ripped off.
Well, Nonsuch has just corrected us there. He says it has a 64-bit system bus. And one of the chips is 64-bit, the rest were 32.
But that doesn't make it 64-bit still.
Well, if one of the chips are.
But
Nonsuch, can you elaborate? Do you know which chip was 64-bit? Was it just some random chip that didn't get used for anything? Or was it a critical part
bet
of
you the
system?
programmers didn't really use it because most of them just stuck to the 68,000.
They did. And we'll see some games, I think, that took that approach. Let's just check the chat here. Chrissy says, "Don't get killed by an alien." Quite a few people like Microsoft Windows NT is here. Nice of you to turn up Microsoft Windows NT. Haven't seen that name in a long
Very retro.
time. He says, "I agree. I like Doom." So I think a couple of people have said they like Doom better. Fair enough.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. A lot of people would.
Banana Pie says, "I think this is about the quality of the first wave of PS1 titles."
Yeah.
So things like, I guess, Destruction Derby is the first wave of games that
Although
I always remember from PS1.
I don't know that Jaguar would have been able to pull off Destruction Derby, to be fair.
There's a Jag game called Club Drive. Have you seen that?
That is terrible.
Yeah.
That is
that's
not good.
probably the closest I can think of
Yeah.
to Destruction Derby. The only similarity really being that it's a driving game.
Yeah.
But, in terms of the views, the kind of polygons it could push. 32-bit chip, 64-bit dip, apparently. So there you go.
Yeah, so technically it was a bit of a marketing BS.
Darren says, "Am I right in saying many programmers at the time never used one of the chips?"
Indeed.
Yeah, so Darren, the Jag has a 68,000 CPU in, just like the Amiga, just like
Atari,
the Ataris. Loads of computers had it. And I think because they were so familiar with that chip and there was such a lack of documentation for development, they just went, "We'll just use the 68,000," and they must have ignored a lot of the other chips. So
Yeah, they just went for the brute force of that one.
Yeah. So what we're going to do as people come and chat to me and we rotate, before they leave, they're going to play a game of Gary's choice. We're all going to play the same game and see who can get the high score. So, Gary, do you know what game you want to use for that?
For the Jag.
A few people are getting motion sick from AVP.
Well, thankfully, it doesn't spin that fast, so you should be okay. So, why don't we unseal Tempest 2000? That could be the high score.
So we see who can score the highest on
I mean,
that.
does everyone on the chat agree Tempest 2000 for high score?
Are we all happy to use Tempest 2000 for the high score challenge? We want something that won't take too long and we can just set a score on. I mean, we don't want Gary here for too long.
No. Nobody does.
We'll wait for the delay to come through on the chat. Do you want to grab it off the shelf anyway?
I shall.
And then if we get a yes, then we will do the grand unsealing. Sounds sweet, says Dermot. Andrew says Tempest is good. Yeah, okay, let's go to the big screen so we can unseal this. It's only going to get unsealed once.
We might need you help.
I hope it works. Let's go to the big cam. Okay, you're using that camera up there.
Okay.
I'm afraid I can't zoom in.
No, it's fine. So, I don't have a...
I'll do a drum roll for you.
I don't have a... Here we go.
Do you want a knife for your game?
I think I've done it now. Here we go. Gonna make a mess on Neil's desk.
Oh, you're going to get your nosy. There it is.
Ah.
Get a good sniff.
It smells like my house.
Fair fight. Good to see you here.
Hey, a fair fight, buddy.
So what have we got in there? Have we got
Ooh,
any
stuff.
like bandanas like Kasumi
No,
Ninja
we
had?
do not. Although, you know,
Oh, is that what it comes in? Okay. Do they all come like this?
the ones I've seen do,
Okay.
yes.
Sealed with an important note.
Does anyone want to fill this in?
You can't get a refund at your Atari dealer unless you have proof of purchase.
Oh, I don't have proof.
Yeah, I'll let you finish
Oh,
opening it.
thank you,
and,
sir.
Let's take AVP out. Right.
Put the rubbish over half. There you go.
Okay, Tempest 2000, 1 or 2 players. So, have you played this before?
I
Even though
have
it's sealed,
played it
you
before,
have
yes,
played it.
I
So
have.
you've got a bit of an advantage.
Yes, I haven't played for a long time, so I'm not going to be good.
Will it work?
Come on, Jag, don't let us down. We don't want to. Ah! It wasn't a repeater last time.
Perfect. Okay. Oh, it's a Jeff Minter, of course.
It's
it
a Jeff
is,
Minter
developed
game,
by
yeah.
Llamasoft.
One of the best games on the system, in my opinion.
Have you seen the new Atari VCS that's been Indiegogo?
Yeah, yeah, it was.
$2.5 million.
I was very, very tempted by that, but in the end, I realised probably wouldn't have a use for it, and also it's a bit too expensive. I thought for what it is.
Well, it's a Linux box, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it came out on one of the demos the other day that they showed Tempest 4000.
Yes.
To
another
demo
Jeff
it?
Minter game. Yeah.
Yeah.
What Jeff's doing.
But the developer came out and said, well, I've never made a version for that platform. So they've obviously just used either stock PC footage or they've used wine to make it run. So it was a bit cheeky. They've got caught out there.
Brilliant. It's more BS for Atari.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They don't change. Okay, so set your score. And,
Okay,
I'll make
oh.
a note of it and we'll see who can beat
Please,
it.
please don't die straight away.
I feel like we need to deduct a percentage of Gary's score because he's played it before.
Ah,
so-
but not for many, many years. I believe Mr. Dalton's better than me.
It's also Crimson says the Atari VCS is a scam. If you want to elaborate on that, please do. I'm very cautious of Indiegogo and two words
Oh, missed it.
explain why I am, and that's Vega Plus.
Oh no.
If you followed the Vega Plus debacle, I think Indiegogo have just sent the debt collectors in to try and recoup some of the costs from that project.
Oh no!
You right there, Gary?
Why?
That's right, you can have all 3 lives.
Right, concentrate.
If I'm pulling a completely gormless face at times, it's because I'm reading the chat.
Oh, wrong one.
Mad Pete, good to see you here.
Do it, yeah, nice. Bring it on.
Hello from Australia. Hello, Vincent.
Oh, wrong way.
Hello, Wavetable Guy. Wavetable Guy is in Discord quite often, and he makes some really cool chip tunes.
He does.
Using the, I think it's sort of instrument sets on modern trackers and music create. I don't think he uses the original hardware, but it sounds authentic. He makes some really good tunes. Correct me if I'm wrong, Wavetable Guy. I'm not quite sure what your methods are.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, the Coleco Chameleon. Now, that's an interesting one. That was on Indiegogo.
Oh.
I think it was on Indiegogo.
Oh,
But the Chameleon, they actually... Do you remember the Coleco Chameleon?
Oh yes, not
They-
a lot of experience with it, but yeah.
They bought the shells, or the moulds, from the Atari Jaguar.
Oh.
So it was a retro system that was in a Jaguar-shaped...
Well, I didn't know
thing.
that one there. I was thinking something
But
else.
they got caught out twice. Once, I can't remember what they put inside it, but they just completely faked everything about it.
Wowzers.
And got caught out. But the cases look nice. I mean, an Atari Jaguar case would make for a good retro system.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I think a dental company bought the case.
They did,
Yeah.
yes. Someone
Yeah.
put the picture in Discord the other day.
Yeah.
Anyone who isn't a member of Discord, you should really join the channel. It's a really great group of great guys just having good chat.
Yeah. There's a link in the description to this video actually.
Oh snap!
Discord. How have you got 3 lives
I
again?
don't
Are
know,
you-
I got an extra one. I might. Ah!
if you end up playing this for 2 hours, it's not going to be much of a high score challenge.
No, we'll get to a certain point, like a score. Maybe let's think. Just no, I messed up.
I tell you what, when you're confident,
Yeah.
you've got a score that's
There
not
you
going to get
go.
beaten,
Yeah.
or you run out of lives.
Yeah.
Then you can retire with honour.
Yes. Because we do have other things we need to be doing in the stream. It's not just Gary plays one game.
Have you played Tempest 2000 on an arcade cabinet?
No, I haven't.
Oh.
I didn't know, to be fair.
Well, sorry, not 2000.
Oh,
just
yes, I
sorry,
have.
not 2000.
Yes, on my own.
There's
name
so many
arcade,
versions
yeah.
of it, aren't there?
So I got my own.
But
name tab.
with a spinner,
Yes.
yeah, it's so nice with a spinner, isn't it? I think you can buy a spinner, or you can make a spinner for the Jag, can't you, to play this
There
with?
is a controller. Yeah, there
think
is
Jeff
a controller,
Minton made
which is
one.
so much better with a spinner. This is because the last time I played Tempest was on my main cab with the trackball, the spinner. The spinner, sorry, on the front.
Yeah.
And whatever. And it's so much easier to play.
Play That Beat Mr. DJ says the PC version shipped with a free spinner at the time.
Oh.
Bazza's eating toast. Anything
Nice.
on the toast, Bazza? So, I think we found a flaw already in our high score challenge.
What's
haven't we? That you're still playing.
Yeah. We don't want everyone to think we're lame. Tell you what,
You got
what we'll
something to
do
prove.
with the Tempest thing, it's best way to do it until you die, or only up to the first 3 levels, and I'm on the 3rd level now.
Okay.
And that way, if you get more of a score, I thought I died.
I think a lap time would be good, wouldn't it, on like a racing game or something?
Yes, which we could do on Checkered Flag or something. I'm happy with whatever everyone else wants to do. But I've got 1 life left, and if I get past this level, we'll call it quits.
Yeah, we want to show you as many games as possible. Baz has just
Got an extra life.
Baz has just got soya marge on his toast.
Oh, that's okay. No,
I'd go for peanut butter myself.
I've run out of the power up. Okay.
Crimson
Mummy.
says the controller for the VCS, it looks like a copy of what the Ouya used,
Oh yes.
if that's how you pronounce it. But that did actually make it to market, didn't it? It
Yes.
just, I don't think it's supported anymore.
Yeah, unfortunately, back in the days where a lot of people were like doing like remakes were quite a big thing, etc. A lot of them bought like UI, however you pronounce
Yeah.
it, to
Ouya, it's like a Chas and
Ouya.
Dave song, isn't it?
yeah, to code on. They thought they might be their their money stream for them, but it
Yeah.
didn't really catch on for anything, sadly. So I'm dead. I died.
Oh, you're done. Okay, 22,400.
Oh, I'm not dead. Sorry, no.
You got another life.
I must have gained another life at some point.
Broadband has joined the Discord. Thank you, mate.
Okay, now I'm dead. Actually, that's
Done.
harder.
22,550. Let me write that down. If you want to stick around, we've got Andrew coming to join us now.
Aye.
But if he chooses a game that's sealed,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
your games, mate.
He
You can
no,
decide
honestly,
if you want to open them.
I said before the stream, anyone who wants to open any games, they can. I'm
Okay.
not precious over them. And plus,
Okay.
like I said, it's nice. It'd be nice to know they work.
Okay, well, let's swap over with Andrew then, and we'll play some more games. Cheers, Gary.
That's all right. Nice.
Gary will be back.
See you.
So this is Mr. Andrew Dalton, who many of you will know. Say hello to Andrew, and Andrew, say hello to the chat.
Hello, everybody.
We've got Howard over here with his camcorder. Do you want to film the chat?
Sorry, guys. Just
You can
getting a
wave
little
at Howard.
behind the scenes footage. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, Dustin says Gary's the real MVP. He really is for bringing all of this hardware. It's really good of him. So, Andrew, thank you for joining us.
Welcome.
Do you want to play Tempest, or do you want to pick something off the...
Whoa.
Well, no, you've got to save that for the high score challenge, haven't you?
Yes.
So, do you want to pick something off the shelf?
Go on, then. Let's have a look. We got...
I'll keep that one here.
So that-
Are you a fan of the fighting games?
I'm a fan of this film.
Oh, okay. So,
I'll
this
let
is...
you unwrap, though, because...
Ah, thank you very much. This is Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. Let's hold that up to the camera. Let's get the big camera up, which is that one. There we go. Now, I know of this game because I used to play this on the Super Nintendo. I expect a few of you guys have as well. So it's certainly not a Jag exclusive. Vectrex, Gary will have pants on when he comes back, definitely. There's a rule in the cave, which is always to have pants. In both the English and the American sense. Andrew was recently on another stream, actually, just a couple of days ago.
I was.
You were
on Daniel Slope's Game Room's Kick Scammer stream. I was assisting him and doing the moderating on that. And I recognise several of people in this stream from that Discord too, so that's pretty good.
While I'm opening this, what did you discover? Because you were looking live for scammers on Kickstarter.
We were. So, as Dan normally does, we track down the various Kick Scammers and start doing investigations. We're doing some investigation live. I think probably one of the highlights was when we discovered a Kickstarter for a spaceship, and this spaceship used no fuel, but it looked like the UFO from Lost in Space in the 60s.
I think the light's too bright for that.
It does.
Yeah, so it looked like... Oh, I was watching when that came up. It looked like your classic UFO shape,
It did, like they'd drawn it in paint themselves.
Yeah.
But then we also looked at their other... other Kickstarters, and this gentleman in question appeared to have been scamming people. He'd been advertising a new super Android-based smartwatch that was a phone and all this wonderful stuff. Mm-hmm. And then when we looked it up, it was actually a $60 item off AliExpress that he was claiming he was developing.
A true kick scammer then. And also he failed to deliver that product as well.
He did indeed.
Which makes no sense because all he had to do was buy it off AliExpress.
I think he did, but I think he just took a lot of money off people. Chrissy's asking the question, did I bring you barbecue to me with the cave date? Not today.
Not today.
Not today, unfortunately.
Nice day for a barbecue.
It would be.
Yeah.
So, let's have that.
So yeah, this is Dragon the Bruce Lee story we're playing now. For one or two players, but I've learned very quickly that I can't play and watch the chat.
Let's have a look. One player game. So we can actually get to start. So, well, we're doing well here. I've never played this before, guys, and
there's not an overlay, is there? For some games, there's an overlay that you can put on the Jag pad.
I don't know. I've pressed all the buttons on the control pad. Oh,
Yes.
start. There we go.
Smack says, yeah, the guy drop shipping from AliExpress still failed. Absolutely. No, I don't have a 3DO Windows NT. I would like one sometime.
Now, Neil, forgive me if I'm wrong. I think on the SNES, wasn't this more of a platformer than a...
No, I think it was a one-on-one beat 'em up. There may have been another title. Some games did that, didn't they? Like Indiana Jones was classic. You had the adventure game and the action game, didn't you? But, what can... You're right there, Gary.
Am I? Oh, well, this one's working.
No, it's working. It's working.
It's working.
Yeah.
Technical support just helping us.
Yeah. Hello, Ian. Great to see you here. But
it's quite interesting, this game. It feels a bit... I'm a big Street Fighter fan, and the combat feels a little strange on it. That it's almost like when you push a button, you're triggering off like a series of movement. Like the animation.
Can you not stop it once it's kicked
off? It feels a bit like that.
Is that how you remember it on other platforms?
No, I don't. I don't really remember it. I played it briefly, I think, on the SNES. I think a friend had this, but never on the Jaguar. It's alright. It's a bit of a generic button masher. I think it's not.
Microsoft Windows 95 is... I don't know if Windows NT has changed his name, or if we've got someone else called Windows 95 here.
Maybe it's his. Maybe it's his sort of nephew. Or
says he has cousin. A 3DO I can have. If that's the case, drop me a message on Twitter. I'd love to hear from you. But Andrew, what do you remember from the launch of the Jaguar?
Well, back in the day, I was more of I was a strong Amiga fan. So being an Atari product, I didn't gravitate towards it at all. However, a friend of mine. Who sort of never wanted to be mainstream. He had a Jaguar very close to launch, his parents.
Okay.
Bought him for his birthday. And I played a little bit on it. But all I played was Cybermorph and Tempest. Tempest I thought was very good. But Cybermorph, while he was sort of dazzled by how technically amazing it looked for the time, I thought it was generally an unplayable mess.
Yeah.
So I was never really a big fan of this. Also... I mean, something I've always said is the size of the Jaguar controllers. I mean, they are quite big. They're not quite as big as I remember. I think I'm probably a bit
I'm just going to hold one up to the camera while you carry on playing. Let me go face cam here. I'm sure you've all seen one before, but just in case you haven't, that is the Jag pad. Looks like a telephone pad in the middle, and we'll show you one later. There's overlays that you put over that pad to give you lots of functions in the game. I actually don't mind it. I think in the hand, it fits my hand nicely.
It seems to fit me better now I'm an adult.
Yeah, you've got those sort of bumps at the back to grip hold of, which I quite like.
Oh dear me.
Yeah, it's not bad.
No.
I mean, what was the alternative at the time? I guess it wasn't long after that you had the PlayStation.
Yeah, you had the PlayStation
controllers,
1.
which were a lot more ergonomic.
Yeah. I think I've probably had enough of playing that.
You've had enough of that, have you?
At the moment.
Okay.
If you want a little go, Neil.
I'll have my go in a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's put Tempest on so you can set
Let's
your
play
score.
a bit of Tempest, because that was a bit clunky. That I think that would have been a rental back in the day, not a purchase.
Street chat. What's your opinion on that little look that you had at Jaguar? Bruce Lee, Dragon. Have you played it on other platforms? How did it look? Craig says that makes the Duke for the original Xbox look ordinary. Yeah, fair comment.
I think so. Let's have a go at...
Premier Romanov says they're like bricks.
I'm not sure it's the age of it. It feels quite creaky.
Yeah, that's true.
Quite hollow.
This one is as well, so it's a common creak.
Right. So, are we playing Tempest 2000 or traditional?
Let's check with Gary.
Hello.
Was it Tempest 2000 mode you played or traditional?
Tempest 2000 mode.
2000 mode.
There you find you need the controller. I did.
Okay. Well, select
It's here if you need it.
Like, yeah.
Right, let's have a look. We'll see what
Let me
happens.
tell you what you need to beat. I think it was 22,500 Gary got.
Right.
It was.
Yeah, 22,500 to beat. Vectrex says, will we get a homebrew channel added to the cave Discord rooms? I think you've already been chatting about this with Andrew Armstrong, maybe? I think there was, or maybe Gary, I think there was some talk about this. Yeah, I can add a homebrew channel to the Discord. We had a chiptune channel added recently, which was very popular. And if you haven't been in the Discord, it's a chat server with lots and lots of rooms. There's the general chat room, and then there's a room per system. So there's lots of people helping each other out in the Amiga room and the Commodore 64 room. Whatever it is you want to talk about, there's a room to do it in there.
I'm doing dreadfully here. Not played Tempest in years.
Windows NT says it gives the Duke a run for its money. There was a new Duke recently launched.
There wasn't there? There was a new one. It had the bit of a strange novelty in it that they built a screen into it to show the original Xbox's power on animation.
I saw Nostalgia Nerd covering it, Peter, and that's not your game over, is it?
That was. I'm that bad at Tempest, unfortunately.
Right, let me make a note of that. 1,600.
Oh no!
Oh, no, you've got another.
Got a life left. There we go.
Okay.
Again.
20,000 to score on this life.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so the new Duke, it has a screen, an LCD screen or LED screen that shows the original Xbox boot up screen. But that's it. You can't change it. You can't make it do anything more useful.
You can't make it do anything.
It just plays a video, which is probably great the first or second time.
Yeah, it's quite expensive as a novelty. The and of course the other thing. The other thing being as well with it, it's the old pounds to dollars thing, that it's exactly the same number in dollars as it is in, well, in pounds as it is in dollars. So us Brits again are getting a bit ripped off, I think. There.
Yeah. I thought they were getting a bit better at the conversion rate, but it seems to have slipped again.
Well, I think it's maybe a little greed on the company's plate.
Yeah. I want to talk to you lots more, and we will when you come back for a go on the Falcon.
Yep.
Because you've got some history of working at Digital, haven't you?
I have
Digital
indeed.
Equipment Corporation,
That's
and I'd like to hear a little bit about that. But let's get is it other Andrew now? Yeah, let's get other Andrew on and see if he can beat your score. Thanks, Andrew.
Okay.
Hello. Hello. Dr. Andrew Armstrong.
Hello.
Tell us about your YouTube channel.
My YouTube channel. Well, if you haven't seen it, it's a channel about teardowns mainly, a little bit of retro gaming, and sometimes me designing electronics.
So you actually live stream the creation of PCBs, don't you? You start from scratch. And
That's right.
You create them, and then I think something you made this week actually arrived. Was it Rob who had ordered some.
That's right, yeah, Rob Taylor.
So it must be really satisfying to see that final product come through.
It is, and it's more satisfying now that I actually see other people making it and ordering the PCBs than me. But it is special because it's hardware. Normally trying to do hardware now for these old retro systems. So this last one was based on a Commodore 64 project that someone's done on the drive, the 1541.
1541.
You've got one. The 1541.
It was a hat for a Raspberry Pi that you made, wasn't it?
That's right, but it's not my firmware. But the chap's designed a firmware, and he did a sort of breadboard and bits of wire. I thought, we should enable his project. So I spoke to him and said, we're going to make a proper hat for you, and then give you all of the designs and help you with the source code, so we can run an LCD screen.
Okay, cool.
So it's not like we're stealing his project.
You've
it's
just
like
expanded
we're expanding on it. Yeah.
And what it does is it makes the Raspberry Pi act as a 1541.
That's right.
There are other products on the market, but this is 100% emulation, isn't it?
It's 100% cycle accurate to the actual drive, and it contains all the same drive CPUs and everything being emulated.
Yeah. Do you want to pick a game?
I shall pick a game.
So any game that uses some kind of funky copy protection or anything like that, that'll work. Whereas on some other products, it may not. Yeah,
absolutely. And the nice thing about it is, I'm going to pick, by the way, Missile Command 3D. And Gary, I'm going to be. I'm breaking the seal on this one.
Do you want to give him a close up before you?
Let's give a close
before you break the seal, so to speak.
And the reasons I'm sort of choosing this one. Have a look at the back as well while you're there. The reason I'm choosing this one is because Missile Command is one of those favourite games I had when I played when I was a kid in the arcade. I remember I was on holiday
with the trackball.
In Sligo in Ireland, in Scree. No, maybe it's not Scree. Anyway, wherever it was, by the sea, Ballina, somewhere. And I was given, it was like 20p a game back then, and that was like my pocket money for the day on holiday. Just addicted to it.
Yeah.
It's one of those games as well that if you play the sort of BBC Micro version, it's pretty good as well. It's just...
Yeah, it does translate quite well, doesn't it? Even though you haven't got the trackball. It's still a good game in its own right with keys or a joystick. So
so
quite a classic.
I think this wasn't done last on when Gary opened that game. You have to do
the sniffing.
I'm getting. Actually, I'm not getting anything.
Good line of that.
I'm kind of disappointed though in not getting a sort of plasticky late 90s smell.
I still believe that Frontier Elite was the best smelling game ever.
And you had the novella, didn't you, with the old Frontier Elite?
Yeah.
Actually, that's quite a tome. Do you want to have a little finger through that while I'm fiddling? No smell, right?
No smell.
No smell.
It's come from a smell-free factory. So it looks like you have the choice of original Missile Command. Yeah, you can play the original, or 3D Missile Command, or virtual. Now. Wasn't this one of the games that was made in preparation for the VR headset for the Jag?
It may well be.
Yeah, I think this was the only game, maybe, because there is a section here which says Virtual Missile Command, and I think it was made with the virtual headset in mind.
It's a kind of it's a shame they didn't make it, but probably a good thing they didn't. Because imagine compared to today's technology, it would have been so bad, and Atari would have just. They kind of went out with the Jaguar, but they would have gone out with a real joke with this bad VR headset.
Yeah.
So we're going to unbag the cartridge. So maybe we'll get a bit of a smell off this one. No, unfortunately not. But here you go, Neil. You can shove that in. Just one thing though.
Look at that.
I'll try to hold this up. The label right here is coming off. So I don't know if that's was typical of cartridges out of the factory or if that's just age. But
the glue's just got old. Right, let's pop this in, see what Missile Command is like.
So last time that we played Jaguar, it was a bit hit and miss on the old game. So I'm hoping. I'm just hoping.
Done okay so far. You might want to grab the headphones.
So I got to grab the headphones. Okay.
Just put them around your neck if you are.
And now am I playing on the Aliens control pad? That one?
Yeah, there was no overlay to put on the control pad with this.
Let's do it.
End of the line, Joel. Let's just check the chat. He says Exile on the BBC had a good novella included.
Brilliant game. One of the best.
Can you think of any other novellas? Obviously, the original Elite had. Was it The Dark Wheel? It was called. I think the novella, something like that.
I think I had it on the BBC Micro, but it was all hooky games back then.
Wavetable Guy says, I kind of want to start collecting old consoles and computers someday, but I know how expensive they can be. And Enigma says they will only get more expensive. Yeah.
What's your view on that? I've got a view, but you can go first.
It depends what level that you want to come in at. I mean, I've picked up some bargains recently, like the Amstrad is not a game that's really in huge demand. I see this is the classic you're playing.
I thought we had to try the classic first. Yeah.
So the Amstrad, it is very sentimental to me, but it's not really a big collector's item. And I picked up that for 20 quid. Granted, it needed a bit of work, but not a huge amount of work. So there are still bargains to be had. But when it comes to names like Atari or Nintendo or Sega, you're immediately paying a premium, no matter what the system.
But I kind of want. I've got a view now at the moment that as a warning almost, because a lot of people are buying these and they're thinking it's just going up, they're going up, they're going up.
Yeah.
But they're not. They're going up because people like yourself,
don't pin this on me.
It's fault. No, but when you get to a certain age, you get a little bit more disposable income, and you start wanting to buy those computers you wanted as a kid or had as a kid.
It's no different to any other hobby, like buying a train set, is it? For a slightly older generation, that's what they wanted as a kid, and now they can finally fulfil their dream.
But there's a catch in it, because we grew up with those machines. I don't think that youngsters, millennials for example, are as interested in the CPC or a SNES as we are. So after us, the market for that will start to go down again. Just be careful when you're buying things. Don't expect it to be like some sort of old E-type where it's just going to keep going up and up.
Yeah. And you have to remember how many of these systems sold. Things like the Commodore 64 sold in their millions. And I think 64 in particular, I think the price is inflated at the moment. I don't think it's going to come down. I think it may sort of hold for a while.
It probably won't go up
afterwards. But they did sell in millions, A lot of these systems, they aren't rare. Many of them, to get them in good condition, it's rare. And if you want a really good, solid example, then you are going to have to pay for it.
Now, if you're collecting, there's some really weird things at the moment that are hard to collect for. So if you want an old IBM AT or an XT or even a 486 computer, an old box one, Viglin or something, getting really hard to find.
Yeah, well, I'm going to blame LGR for that. I'm going to blame Clint at LGR because he really loves those PCs, doesn't he? And XTs and the actual IBM branded ones, they're expensive, and they're a lot less common than I think a lot of people in America realise they are in the UK.
I remember them they used to be kicking around, probably late 90s. You could get hold of that, people throwing them out. But I think that they were just all scrap now.
Yeah, we had so many like Gateway 2000s, Viglins, as you mentioned. Yeah. Packard Bell was all over the high street.
Yeah. Gosh,
yeah. And actually, I've been thinking lately. Do you remember those Packard Bells that used to be designed to sit in the corner of the room? So it was like a square, but then the front one side of it was like round, curved.
And it had a disc drive. The drive was kind of in the side or something.
So bad. I want to get one. I want to refurbish one.
But I'm going to try to. Can you hit the old reset button, Neil? I think.
Do you not know how to get out of it?
No, we're cheat.
Yeah. Smitten the Kitten Mittens says, "Damn you, Clint! Damn you, LGR!"
Can you do his voice? He sounds a lot like Duke Nukem. So
I'm not going to do a Duke Nukem accent. He does it so well. Wavetable Guy says he's 21 and he finds all these consoles fascinating. I do like to see the younger generation interested and involved.
Sorry, yeah, go on. No, yeah. I'm slightly distracted because I just pushed the button. I don't know what I've selected here. Hopefully 3D.
Boardband says, I lost an auction of a Commodore PET today. I wonder if I'll ever be able to afford one. Craig says, part of the fun of collecting old gear for me is going through the restoration stage. He finds that extremely enjoyable, and I'm obviously with you on that, Craig. It's extremely satisfying and rewarding, especially when it's in bad electronic and physical condition. If you can crack both of those and end up with something that's working and looks great, it's extremely rewarding.
Do you like the owning as much as you like the restoration? That's always an interesting one.
I do like the owning, but I come at it from a different angle because a lot of the stuff is donated to me.
Yeah.
Selling it is never an option for me. I don't ever think about selling it unless it's something that I've bought myself in the first place. I've sold very, very few things. Something I did sell recently was the CD32 SX1 add-on. So that was an original add-on from back in the day, which let you add a hard drive to a CD32, plug a keyboard in, parallel port and all of this.
I think I saw it here actually. Yeah, you had it also.
And I had it here for the CD32 Trash to Treasure. I bought it on eBay from Germany, and it's made completely redundant for me by the Terrible Fire add-on that was made recently, which has all of those features in a really slimline package. So where the SX, one was like this, the Terrible Fire was just a little thing which had even more features. And it's like, well, this is worth a lot of money. It's being made redundant from that. So I thought I'd sell it while it's still worth some money. And with that, I bought another Commodore Amiga, and I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's for a future episode, and it's a very, very special one.
Very close to his chest.
Excuse me. And I got 250 quid for it, which is not a small chunk of change. So but I haven't sold any computers lately. If you could see behind the camera, the cave is filling up very quickly.
It's like a junk shop. Yeah, it really is.
Electron Ash, great to see you here. I think he frequents your channel.
Yeah, Electron Ash and Super Speed, Fairfight 14. There's a lot of people.
It's the same people. We've been gassing lots. Let's get you on your high score challenge.
Let's do
quickly,
that.
and then...
Actually, by the way, just as while you're switching that, you saw on Missile Command, it was showing a screen just there at home. You've seen that. I couldn't move on to the next menu there. I was pushing every button on this thing, so no matter how many buttons you've got on there, there's not the right buttons.
I think I've put Tempest 2000 back in the Dragon box.
Someone says, does it? Poe Peter 1234 says, does anybody want a copy of an old weight loss program on cassette written by my dad in the 80s on C64? Yes, definitely.
Which of us do you think needs it the more?
Or, no, we don't want to know. It will only cause a falling out. But I reckon if you've got that, though, you should post it on GitHub or something. That would be really fun.
Super Speed says, I'm always around. Always. That's
always.
Slightly threatening, isn't it?
I think I've still got something to try that you've sent me, Super Speed, a magic hacking dongle that will take over my PC, and I'm too scared to plug it in.
Let's put you back on the screen. There you go.
Right, so which game am I?
2000.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the score to beat.
You've got this rather massive cursor as well to choose.
Look at that.
What am I choosing? It's that one, yes.
22,500 to beat. I think maybe we should disqualify Gary from the high scores because he's played this before.
That's it. I hear he's always playing with this.
We'll see. We'll see what the chat thinks at the end when we've got all the scores in.
Right.
John Smith says, I have the body of a god, Buddha. If you touch my belly, it's good luck, John. Popito says, I'll try and get him to record an MP3 and post it online. So that's the fitness program. So that'll be good.
Gary, what do I do when they're after me? They've caught me.
One of the buttons, C, I think. If you shoot horizontally, you have to get the power up.
Right.
The Chief says Silicon graphics prices are nuts. They are. And I think the Silicon graphics, the SGI Indigo,
yeah.
I think that's one of the best looking computers out there. It's such a nut.
You would make room in the cave for one?
Yeah. Beautiful machines. I wouldn't know what I'd do with it, but I'd look at it and I'd stroke it.
It should be very similar to what you were using the other day, that Next.
Yeah, like the next station, yeah. Stormo Plays Games says, are there any YouTubers that do retro Mac stuff? I don't follow any that really specialise in Mac stuff myself.
It tends to be, I've only seen it as little side episodes on regular ones, but no, I haven't seen anything Mac explicit. This is terrible, by the way. Have you played this yet?
Not yet, no. I will have my go in a bit. You haven't caught up with Andrew's score of 3,750, and you've got 2 lives left.
And I've got
I reckon
things
you've got
after
this.
me. God, it's just gone very quiet when we're playing this.
Yeah,
I hope the boys and girls at home can
concentrating.
use it.
Yeah, watching the chat.
I like how that's blocked.
Chris Nutt says, I saw one back in the day, visited the Earthworm Jim developer, 3D developer Viz, and they had an SGI Indigo. Good looking machines, aren't they, Chris?
It was always popular at universities. They would normally, the department would try to buy one to sit in the corner, but no one really knew how to use it.
Windows NT says it's now safe to turn off your computer.
You know what I haven't done, Neil, though, for a while? It's kind of a ye old PC to run Windows 3.1. I think it's about time I got a 3.1 one set up. Yeah.
So I've got a 486DX4100.
Almost too good.
Almost too good. There are some DOS games that it runs too quickly. Games like the Origin games like Wing Commander and Ultima.
Commander Keen?
I haven't tried Commander Keen on it, but some of those games they're written with no timing. They just run as quickly as the processor will allow them to.
So just 480.
So you've got to use like resident memory apps like Slow Mo or Mo Slow, something like that. I can't remember.
They never quite work, do they?
To stress the CPU to slow it down, yeah.
I remember having Chicago 90, playing that on a monochrome with 286 with an ad-lib compatible. It wasn't even an actual real ad-lib.
So what were you playing when the Jaguar came out? Were you an Atari ST?
I was Atari ST, but I probably was just starting to shift over to PC by then, because we had a period where I was playing Frontier Elite 2 on PC, so that might give you an idea of a sort of crossover, but we had PCs for years before that. Carrier Command, remember I talk about Carrier Command all the time, but probably got more out on the PC than the ST.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, the Jaguar and the Falcon, I kind of was really looking forward to it, like a lot of Atari fans, and it just didn't get them off the ground,
Yeah. Baz has given you some advice here. He says, if you press the turbo button, it slows it down.
What's this, on your PC?
Oh, that's on a PC. I thought it was talking about the game. Yeah, turbo buttons on PCs. I really miss turbo buttons on PCs, especially when they had the display to tell you the speed.
It was just random numbers, wasn't it?
No, it's the clock speed.
No, but you could set it with jumpers, so some of them just said 9999. Wow. Yeah, because if in that period, do you remember you'd get your first CD writer, which would have been a dual speed card with no burn proof?
I think I paid £350 for my first internal CD writer. It was a Yamaha. It might have been a 4-speed. And just for a short period of time, I could, make special copies of things for people. Or what I'd like to do is I'd like to make compilations. I'd like to get all of my disc stuff onto a CD. Or in fact, by that point, I think I had most stuff on zip discs. So I'd gone from disc to zip to CD.
And did you have reliable zip discs, or did you have the ones which were infinitely terrible?
I had some terrible ones. I remember buying tons and tons of discs from, was it Escom? Did they have a high street store? I think they did. And there was a period when you could buy like 100 floppy disks for £10. But, it was a false economy. If you were lucky, about 50% of them worked.
I remember, like, back in the day in uni, that was really the zip disc, and you had the LS120, which Peter Lee did recently.
Yeah.
Once you had CDs and they became as cheap as chips, we never looked back.
How are you getting on?
Oh, 18.
You're not doing bad. You're actually catching Gary.
Am I? I don't know. I suspect there's power-ups here that you can pick up, but I don't know how you do them.
It says collect the power-ups. Yeah, I'm not sure what you do with them. What have we got? People talking about their first CD drives. Bazza had a 2-speed in '97. Craig had an IDE Sony, which was 32-speed, right? That's pretty quick. Bought it for 80 quid. So definitely not an early adopter.
Couldn't have been. Oh, I remember those notoriously unreliable, those dual speed, the early ones.
Mr. C, if that's directed at me, I'd love to. I've got a Voodoo 3 card here which doesn't have a heatsink on, and I really need to get that on. I haven't ever tested it. I'd love to cover the 3DFX at some point, because the introduction of the 3DFX was a real key moment for me in gaming. It was just such a mesmerising moment to see 3D accelerated graphics on my PC.
It changed everything though. Do you remember? Because you had these sort of Matrox Millenniums and Mystiques which were trying, but then 3DFX, boom, Voodoo chipset. But do you remember the lame ones? They had the Voodoo. There was it Voodoo? Not Voodoo 2. There was.
I had the Voodoo Banshee, which was 2D and 3D combined.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
So
because you had the little link
Because
cable.
3DFX card was standalone, you still needed a 2D card. 22,005. Yeah, you've got the high score by a long way, and you've still got 2 lives. So whenever you want to retire, when you're confident.
All right, I'll go.
Sorry, if you can hit 30,000 maybe.
Yeah, I just died.
Yeah. Mr. C, fair enough, directed at Fairlight. Ash says I have a Voodoo 2 PCI card on my Core i7 at the moment.
Wow.
A Voodoo 2 on a Core i7.
Yeah, but he probably made that card himself, knowing.
Knowing Ash, yeah, he probably fabricated it. Floating Fat Man, afternoon to me and to you.
Hey, Floating Fat Man, how's it going?
Floating Fat Man. No man is an island, Andrew, unless he's in the bath. On that note, 31,840.
There we go. Neil had that one loaded up for ages. He's been waiting for an opportunity.
Just waiting for Floating Fat Man to turn up.
It's been 5 years.
Right, 31,840 to beat.
Woo-hoo.
Let's see how Howard gets on, and we'll see Andrew again shortly.
We will.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you so much. Howard, you're up, sir.
Let's come back to the face cam. There we are. Is it too hard to smile without a sticker on your face? Actually, the light's bouncing off. You can't see it.
The light's bouncing off my head.
Yeah, you and me both.
Hi, everybody.
This is Howard. Howard, I need you to pick a game from the shelf that you want to play.
Okay, yeah.
And I need you to tell us all about your YouTube channel, Dubious Engineering.
Very kind now.
Yeah.
I need to go this way, get closer. There we go. Right, so today, for tradition, Doom.
Get out to the camera there.
Top camera,
Doom.
and get the light right. There we go. There we go. Doom. Awesome. Nice to meet everybody. Hello. Lovely to be on Neil's channel.
You open it up.
Very kind. Ooh, how do I open this up then?
I shoved a pen lid in, but if you need a knife, you can get one from the toolbox there.
Stuff it in the hole. There we go.
Ash says, howdy Howard, Electron Ash.
Oh, Electron Ash.
He's on your channel a lot.
He is indeed, yeah. How you
Which
doing?
you were going to tell us about.
Yes, Dubious Engineering. Dubious Engineering. So, I'll tell you what, just very quickly, I'll just before we do that. So, what I do is I make stuff, and it's an engineering channel ultimately, and I make stuff. So this is a wooden handheld games console with a missile switch and buttons, bullet buttons for if you open it up as well.
Got it turned on at the moment.
That's okay. That's all right. Just open it up here, and then people can have a quick look on the inside. So that's an iPad battery in there, a Raspberry Pi, a little audio amplifier, and a whole bunch of other electronics that just sort of take care of stuff. But ultimately,
I love those buttons, like bullets.
And all of the wood I put together on a router that I had that I installed, a hand router that I installed on my desk in my shed. Anyway, back to Doom.
So that's Dubious Engineering, and I've put a link to your channel in the description of this video, as well as Andrew's and Gary's Twitter, and everyone else. So if you want to see what these guys are up to, just check the description.
That's super kind. Thank you very much.
Doom on the Jaguar. I think John Carmack said this was his favourite port.
Okay.
So I'm expecting good things.
All right. Okay. Well, Gary warned me that it might be difficult to play on the gamepad on the Jaguar. But,
okay.
Do we need to go through the contents, or
if there's anything unusual in there, like any bandanas or anything like that?
Any bandanas? Yeah, we'll give those to Gary.
What I have got here is I've got 2 game manuals came out.
Cool.
One in English, and we've got one in what looks like it's in Japanese.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's definitely Japanese kanji. Excellent. Oh, wow. We've got a...
There's no point in holding anything white up to the camera. The light's just bouncing off of it.
We've got
now we've got an overlay.
An overlay for the... so right there.
Right.
Is an overlay for Doom. That's sort of super cool.
We'll get that in the control pad and show it.
All right.
Let's get Doom loaded up.
And that's the games cartridge just there. Awesome.
You're going to give it a blow for luck?
Yeah.
Don't take that the wrong way.
Shall I blow on it and shove it in the hole? Is that what okay.
Exactly.
Sorry, there's a borderline there. Very dubious. Right, so that's the right way around, hopefully. And you're going to hold on to the... You take care of it.
Alexander says, is this the Doom port without music? And yes, it is. That's the one thing that this is lacking, is the music, which some say gives it a bit more atmosphere.
So,
it's a bit like...
so what we've got to do is pop...
Wolfenstein, I believe, they managed to get the music into the Jag version. So I don't quite know why they didn't get it in the Doom version. Should I put that up to the camera?
Yep, sure thing.
There you go. So that's what the control pad looks like with an overlay, which is quite nice actually. You've got all your weapons up there, so you can quickly pick a weapon, bring up the map. I quite like that.
Yeah, that looks quite cool, doesn't it? Yeah, map. Oh, cool. We've got the fist as well, so you can really give the enemies a good seeing to. All right, so am I just going to kick off then? Here we go.
Yeah, go for it.
Single
Let's
mode,
just see what it's like.
Do this. Okay. All right, there we go. Yeah, just standard Doom.
This is interesting. He says ID reportedly found that they could have doubled the Doom texture resolution without a performance hit several weeks after it was released.
No.
Ouch. No such thing as online updates back then.
Oh, that would have been super cool.
Yeah.
There's a little bit difficult to strafe. I remember on the keyboard you could easily strafe.
Yeah.
So.
You instinctively go for those corner buttons.
Yes, that don't exist. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, let's go find a monster to kill.
Yeah, Alexander. Fair enough. He says some say the lack of music gives it less atmosphere. I said it possibly gives it more.
Possibly.
I guess if you've got your Ghetto Blaster next to you and you put some what music was playing in 1992-93.
Oh wow, that's a good question. I was a rocker. Music. I was a rocker. So as you can see, I've got Fender written across my my
New
moves.
Kids on the Block. That would give you an atmosphere of sorts. I don't know if it's the atmosphere that you'd want. So, there we go.
Excellent. So, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, Vectrex, there is no soundtrack on this one, just the sound effects.
This is actually very playable, much more playable than I was expecting with the hand kit on the Jaguar.
Bazza says the colours are washed out. Bazza, so the console is going through a sync stripper, and then it's going into a GBS 2220, which 8220. Which is a device I showed you quite a while back on the Amiga to get the Amiga to output to a modern monitor, which we've got next to us here. So I think some of the colours probably being washed out by that. It's quite a cheap solution. It's not like a Frame Meister or anything like that. So it works, but I think that's probably why the colours are a bit washed out. Windows 95 says S Club 7 to Doom.
S Club 7. There ain't no party like an S Club party, mate.
Heron and Chip says Pet Shop Boys. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Getting closer. But I don't know if that really works with Doom very well, does it?
But, what were you playing 92, 93? Did you have a system at the time?
Right, okay, so my background then, as I think you know, was the Acorn Electron. When I was a kiddo, my parents gave me an Acorn Electron for Christmas, and I sat there and I typed games in from magazines, and I played all of the games that you got with it, and then I started buying the magazines with the tapes and waiting for them to load. Chain, ditto. And the thing, actually, the game that sort of was really my most favourite was Elite. That was an absolutely awesome game. That was the beginning of my gaming career. Then there was quite a large gap actually after that. I got into music and I started playing guitar, and I was in a few bands and stuff, and then never really missed a whole chunk of retro gaming. And what I'll say is meeting these guys right here, Neil and all of the guys that are here today. This is bringing back a piece of my past that I never had. So you will probably notice that there's a large lump of gaming that I just don't know. I know Doom, Quake, and some of the more some of the obvious ones, but yeah.
I mean, when you say you're into retro gaming, people kind of assume that you're going to know everything about every system.
Yes.
From from every period going back 30 years. And actually, it's the same with me. I was an Amiga guy. If you start asking me questions about the Sega Mega Drive, the Super Nintendo, I love going back and learning about those games and playing those games, but I wasn't there first time around. I know as much as the next guy. So yeah, you can't know everything, but if you enjoy going back and trying all these things, then brilliant.
It's awesome.
It's
Yeah, yeah. I've spent hours playing that little wooden game box that I've designed. It's been absolutely great fun. In fact, my wife is from Taiwan, and she has. I bought her a K101, a Revo K101 games console, and she's loving playing Bomberman and various other things on that. Yeah. So I'm really struggling to find my way around the map here now. Do you
got
recall?
A map button there.
Oh, there's a map button.
That's what the overlay's for.
There we go.
We had a question there which said, are any of the build engine games on the Jag? Guys in the back room there, can you do a quick search for us? Are any of the build engine games made for the Jag, like Duke Nukem? Was that ever out for it?
No, Duke wasn't.
Blood, anything like that? I guess that was all too late. So have a quick look, and we'll let you know.
There we go.
Floating Fat Man says, I'm no island, I'm a continent. Play the beat, Mr. DJ. Floating Fat Man, if you've only just heard my comment about No Man is an Island, you might be listening a little bit behind. I don't know. Because Play the Beat, Mr. DJ says 24-second delay. So the stream setup is we're only streaming to YouTube. This is not going through any kind of third-party service. So the delay is as low as it can possibly be while giving you a decent quality.
Oh,
so there's not a great deal we can do about that.
There we go.
Yeah, so you mentioned that your wife Vicky is from Taiwan.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Have you ever asked her about her gaming experiences growing up? What did she have access to?
Yeah,
as a teenager. Or a
she had her from about the age of 13. She's a similar age to myself, and from about the age of 13, she played the watch and game.
Game and Watch.
The
Watch.
LCD type devices, and then later on she had a console that plugged into the telly, a bit like this, but I guess I can only assume it was a Chinese or Taiwanese.
I imagine they were flooded with some of the knockoff ones, like the Jackie Chan computer we had recently and things like that.
Yes, indeed.
The Family clones.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to find the jump button. I don't think there's a jump button here. All right. Okay. Well, came up. Good. So what else have we got going on then?
Just checking the chat.
Just what's your? Are you allowed to give away any information on your next video that you're going to be producing, Neil?
Yeah.
Bit of a preview to those that have kindly come and stopped on with us on the channel.
Let me grab something while you carry on playing, and I can give a little preview.
Okay.
Why not?
Fantastic. He's left me on my own. Hi everybody. So it's actually really nice. There's a whole group of people here today. There's about 6 or 7 people in the cave here, and everybody's having a little party. Come and say a quick hello.
Yes. So this is the aforementioned Vicky. Say hello.
Hello.
Excellent.
Yeah, so at the moment I'm researching with the help of a chap called Bastien, who may or may not be watching today. He's based in France, and I really enjoy finding out those stories from places like Russia and China, places where I have absolutely no knowledge whatsoever about computers, and I like to learn how they did it. So Bastien is helping me learn about a few French computers, including this beautiful looking thing. This is an Alice computer.
Alice. Who the?
Yeah, and I have some specially made music.
Oh, do you?
He may be in here. I haven't seen the chap in here who made it.
Is it Tom?
But no, it's not Tom. So there's a chap who's made me. He's a musician, and I can ask him to make things because he just loves the challenge, and I give him a credit on the video, and it's all great.
Fantastic.
Now I can request the strangest things from him, and he delivers every time. And what I requested was an 8-bit French cafe version of Living Next Door to Alice, and he delivered.
Really?
He delivered.
Is it good? Yeah, fantastic.
A great bit of music to cover this system. I can't cover this until I've worked out the video output, because it's got a bit of a funky video output.
Okay.
So once we've made the cable for that, we can cover that.
It's not CCAM instead of PAL or something like that, is it?
No.
It shouldn't be, because
France was well into its SCART connectors.
Okay.
But this one, again, is a little bit funky. So until I've got this sorted to cover, I've got a Thomson MO5, which is... Thomson is a company, a very old company, who in the 80s decided they wanted to be the French Apple.
Okay.
And,
okay.
Yeah, they failed, as you can probably guess, because you may not have heard of them. But yeah, so I'm working on a lot of research for French history and computer history, and I really want to get stuck into another meaty episode like that because what did we have? We got the stream here. We had Trevor the Turtle recently.
Oh yeah, I saw that. He's so cute. Yeah,
it's all
yeah,
good
yeah,
fun,
yeah.
but I do always have to come back to those more meaty researched episodes.
Yeah, the
that's
deep
my bread
stuff.
and butter. That and the trash to treasure are the two core things.
Yeah.
So I'll always come back to those.
Fantastic.
So there you go.
Excellent.
That's that. Do you want to have a quick go at setting your Tempest score?
Yeah, go on then. We'll might as well see how we do. I'm as I said, I'm really not brilliant at retro gaming, so we'll have a go. I'm sure it can't be that complicated.
Yeah, a few people are saying here that they've got Thomson set-top boxes, Thomson TVs. Yeah, they still exist. They're actually known as Technicolor SA. They're a part of the Technicolor group.
Okay.
So they're not known as Thomson anymore, although they may produce things under the Thomson banner. I lived in France for a while and I had a Thomson set-top box which did my broadband, my television and my telephone.
Tu parles français?
No.
Very easy answer there. Am I playing the right game here, by the way? Just make sure that I've selected the appropriate options.
The Tempest 2000 option was what we were going for.
Okay, I don't know if I've done that.
Well, we can see a delay on the stream. Yeah,
I have. I've got it. Okay, happy days.
You've got your own action replay.
Right, wish me luck, guys and girls. Okay, there we go. That button. Ooh. Why can't it? It's not. Have
you got the right control?
There we go. Right. Okay. Ow! No.
He's off to a flying start.
Oh, this isn't going to be good, is it? Oh, yeah. You get older and your reactions get a bit worse. Where are my glasses?
Is this your first time on a Jag?
This is my second. Actually, no. We were here before, weren't we? With the Jaguar. But this isn't going to be good, is it? How do I?
Bazza said, did the Thompson twins start Thompson? No. The guy who started it was...
The Thompson twins, yeah.
It was started in the 1800s. And when it was started, the early company merged with Thomas Edison's company, Edison Electric.
Okay.
So quite a prestigious history. Yeah.
Is that a... Okay, I think I've... Oh, awesome. I've just got a power up. Yeah, the wife will be proud.
Did you ever play Area 51 in the arcades? It was a shooter. You had the gun, shooting aliens in Area 51.
No, there was no is the. I'm so sorry. No, I didn't.
No, the reason I ask is because you said you hadn't played on a Jag before.
Yes.
Area 51 is the arcade hardware is what's known as a co-Jag or a coin-up Jaguar.
Okay.
And it was a Jaguar with a 68030 CPU, no 68020 CPU and a little bit of extra RAM. But essentially, it was an Atari Jaguar. So, if any of you in the chat have played Area 51, I'm sure some of you have. You have used a Jaguar of sorts.
Oh, have I gone? Oh, I'm on the next level.
Check you out. Well, you've beaten Andrew Dalton, so you're
okay,
not in
fine.
last
Happy
place.
Happy days. I've beaten somebody. I'm not in last place. Good news. Are you going to play this at some point in the moment?
Yes, I'm going to have a quick go next.
Okay, fantastic.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of minutes break to swap the systems over.
Yeah.
We'll put out to chat if there's one more game that they want to see from the shelf because we want to show you as much as possible.
What's everybody doing today?
Fair Fights played Area 51. Electron Ash preempted us on Area 51, but that's just because of the delay. T-Mech is another arcade co-Jag game. John Smith has gone to wash his hands for some reason.
always good to stay clean, John.
Enigma said there were Amiga-based coin-ups too. Yeah, the Amiga was involved in quite a bit of arcade hardware. If you remember the Virtuality 3D VR first time around in the early 90s, that was an Amiga, I think it was an Amiga 3000 with some custom graphics hardware. And there was also a Lemmings game in the arcade at some point.
I did enjoy Lemmings, actually.
I don't know if that was Amiga-based. It may have been.
Asteroids. I downloaded a whole bunch of Atari stuff for RetroPie recently, and Asteroids is absolutely magnificent. Have I beaten anybody yet? I have, haven't I?
John Smith says the CD32 was in a few cabinets. It was, and it was also in, I want to say, the London Transport Museum, but it might be another one, and they used it to either give presentations or simulate the tube system, something like that. And I think there may still be some pedestals out there that have the CD32s in originally, which would be quite collectible if you can get hold of one, I think. Paul, hello from Australia. Hi there.
Ah, hi mate. Stick another shrimp on the barbie. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's very wrong of me. I meant that in a really nice, friendly way.
Yes, Carl, thank you. Carl confirmed it was the London Transport Museum. And Boardband is finishing off a 4860X4 100 build so he can play something else.
Awesome.
What games do you have in mind, Boardband?
Yes. Oh, I've still got 2 lives left.
You're doing all right.
It seems like I've been playing for a really long time.
You're doing pretty well.
Okay. You can pull me off at any time. You can. You can stop me from playing at any time.
Please turn the cameras off before that happens. Lots of people saying they don't like Lemmings 3D. I didn't ever play Lemmings 3D. I played Lemmings 1 and Lemmings 2, which I loved. By that time, I was a bit lemminged out, to be honest.
Was it Psygnosis?
Yes, yeah. DMA Design, published by Psygnosis originally. No, I don't have a CDI. The stream's just caught up with the pulling off.
a few comments in the chat.
I don't have a CDI, and I don't know what I'd want to play on the CDI. Probably Mad Dog McCree. I have a soft spot for that game. Like most Laserdisc games, I know the interaction is minimal, but I just, like Dragon's Lair, I just keep coming back to them. I don't know why, I just keep coming back. Mad Dog McCree, great. I got a light gun for my PC about a year ago, and I wanted to play Mad Dog McCree with it. And the problem with modern light guns is they're based on a sensor bar on the top of the monitor, a bit like a Wii. Well, exactly like a Wii.
Not like the old light guns that used the flyback of the TV, the scan lines on the TV to determine where they were.
Exactly. Okay. And of course, these were super quick.
Yeah.
And pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Now, with the modern ones, in modern arcade games, it works because they put 8 or even 12 sensors all the way around the screen.
Yeah.
But with the home one, when you've just got one sensor on the top, it's almost like you're dragging the crosshair around the screen.
Yes.
It's just not the same. You try and play point blank like that, it's just not going to happen. So, if you could get a CDI, Mad Dog McCree with the video unit, I think there was a video add-on for FMV. I hope that looks good. I don't know if Mad Dog supports the video unit. But with that, a CRT and a gun, that would be nice. That is why I'd buy a CDI. I think there's also an awful Zelda game on the CDI.
Oh really? Actually, that was one that again. Sorry, going back to old school gaming for me. Yeah, Zelda was a game that I absolutely adored. Zelda and Tetris on the original Game Boy were absolutely magnificent. I really enjoyed them. I've just been shot. 32,000. Shall I stop there?
How does that compare? You are in the lead.
Okay, I'll stop there.
I'm not going to play Tempest 2000 because I think we've seen a lot of that.
A lot of Tempest 2000,
of Falcon and other games as possible. So you are the winner of the Jaguar High Score Challenge.
Ta-da! Awesome.
So we're going to stick around. We're going to give the live stream a choice of game off of the shelf. Andrew Armstrong, are you going to join us again for this bit?
I will.
I think if we can let the chat choose a game, I'll play the game because I want to play on something.
Yeah.
So you can manage the chat and then we'll move on to the Falcon after that. So, chat. I'm going to read out the games. I want you to choose something. We have Ruiner Pinball, and we are going to play a pinball game on the Falcon, so you may not want that. We have Checkered Flag, a car racing game. We have Bubsy. We've got Iron Soldier. We've got, I don't think Gary will want to open that, White Men Can't Jump. Wolfenstein 3D.
Ooh, yes.
We've got Baldies, which is a good choice, an excellent choice, but a bit of more of a strategic game.
Controversial, very controversial.
And we've got Battlemorph, which is a Jaguar CD game. It might be nice to look at a CD game, but I'll let you decide. What do you want to see, guys? We'll give you 30 seconds or so to choose.
Like the countdown there?
We do.
We on mute?
No, we're not
No,
on mute.
okay.
We're just waiting to hear what they say. Wolfenstein 3D. 1, 2, 3, 4 votes for Bubsy.
Bubsy,
5 for
Bubsy.
2 for
Wolfenstein. 3 for Wolfenstein.
Right, 1.
4, 5.
5.
It's an even score.
6
6.
for Bubsy.
6 for Wolfenstein.
1 for Battlemorph. 7.
7 for Wolfenstein. 8 for Wolfenstein.
Fingers.
And a thumbs down for Bubsy. It's got to be. It looks like it's Wolfenstein, doesn't it? Yeah, fantastic.
Wolfenstein. Okay.
So Neil, you got to.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
These people just ripping into it without unboxing it
Right.
properly.
Who's playing this?
I'm going to have a go on this.
Okay.
Wolf 3D. There we go. That's your standard Wolf 3D cover. We've all seen that before. Bring down the Third Reich.
Okay. I shall step out of the way and let you guys
Yeah,
get
I'll
on.
grab the hot seat.
Lovely to meet you all. See you all again very soon, I'm sure. Take care.
So you can't see, but Gary's on the other side of the camera now, just picking up all the cartridges that we've been tossing off to one side after playing them, and
I shall get the pad
picking up
here.
all his babies.
Let's make a few notes, Neil.
My chat here has gone empty. I don't know what's going on. Let's refresh that screen. Either everyone's left or the chat's
Left in
messed up.
disgust because of the choices.
Yeah, let's refresh that. Okay, Wolf 3D. It doesn't have anything special. No bandanas. I would like to show you what Gary's got in his head. Gary, do you want to come and show us your accessory? So this came inside the game Katsumi Ninja.
Yes, so the last time we were on stream.
I was hoping to find more things like this inside Jag games, but...
What do you call them? Feelies?
Yes,
Feelies,
You
yes.
like to feel things.
Tossing off, yes. Sorry.
So there's a lot of distracting comments here.
We need like an innuendo jar, don't we? So Wolfenstein also comes with an overlay. Do you want to pop that in?
It is off, isn't it? Yeah. So because this is going inside the Jaguar CD extension thing, I'm sort of deadly scared it's just all going to go very wrong.
There we go. We're gonna put that in.
Power on.
Now the interesting thing about the Jaguar CD, I can't remember if I said this earlier, but the CD can work in tandem with the cartridges, so you can technically have a game that uses the CD and the cart at the same time. But no game was ever made to do that.
This is looking cool, isn't it? This twirly wheel. Can the boys and girls at home see
Texture
that
mapped
in
Hitler.
big end?
Oh yes, sorry. Let's. We've got a stack of cart boxes in the way here. I can't
Just
see
what's
going on.
Don't mind.
Let's bring that gameplay up. There we go.
So Neil, I like this pad by the way. It's very.
Got to be
Hello, Neil.
Be
Welcome
organised.
to the cave.
So Retrotech Ralph, welcome. Retrotech Ralph does teardowns and repairs on his channel, and he only started a few weeks ago, and he's building up a little following. So
That's right.
One worth checking out. But I'll let you concentrate on the chat because I'm going to play some Wolfenstein.
Oh, it's all tricky this chat. I've got to put my reading glasses on. So Enigma776 says, "Where did you learn to fly?" I think we've seen that a few times on this stream. JJXB says, "Tossing off carts, you filthy people." Yeah, we're not treating those cartridges with the respect they deserve. I agree. Unceremonial unboxing. There's a few in here I won't read out.
He's the admin watching the chat.
But Retrotech Ralph says, "Will this be available on YouTube later?"
Yes, it will be released on YouTube later. YouTube have demonetized the stream, which is fair enough because they don't know what we're going to stream.
what kind of language we're going to use.
Are you going to just post it raw, or are you going to do a little edit?
So I'll edit out any delays at the start and finish. I will get YouTube to review it so it's monetized. I'll put it out to my patrons first, so if you're a patron you'll see it on the Patreon page. And then it will go public to everyone. So yeah.
So Retrotech Ralph, in answer to your question, yes, you might have to wait a week for that to happen. Or I think you can keep the link open and drag the slider back. There is a DVR function there, and I think it goes on for 4 hours, 5 hours.
And if you've just joined us, Ralph, we're just finishing up with the Jag, but we are going to move on to the Falcon next. So we've got lots of Falcon goodness to come.
And Enigma767 says the Sega CD utilised the 32X for improved colours. There's a discussion on the Sega CD and the 32X, and I watched a video about that recently, Neil. It's very interesting hardware, really. Sort of
the 32X, are we talking
marked
about?
The end of Sega in the US, certainly, and probably hardware in general.
32X was interesting. Have I ever used one? I think I played on one at an expo. It was great in that it stepped up the 2D game despite being aimed at bringing 3D games to the Mega Drive. It did make some really good 2D games, as did the Sega CD actually. You know, it's not fondly remembered, but things like Final Fight on the Sega CD are great games.
Golden Axe, I think,
was there a good Golden Axe? And then towards the end of the Mega Drive's life, they started putting that 3D chip into some Mega Drive games, so you could buy Virtua Racer on the stock Mega Drive. The cartridge cost you about £80, something ridiculous like that, but it worked. And I sometimes think that was a bit of a strange move, because it was almost putting people off buying the 32X when they went, okay, it's a little bit slower, but I can play this on my stock Mega Drive. I don't know, but there were lots of dodgy decisions made by lots of companies.
Well, I think they called it the Osborne effect. I think it was the Osborne Computer was the first company to do this, where they've got a model on the market and they announce that they're going to release a future version in the not too distant future, which killed totally their revenues from their existing product, and then meant they couldn't make the future versions.
Yeah. What do you guys think of Wolf 3D? Let us know your thoughts. For me, excuse me, it's pretty smooth. Hang on, I need to get this cough out. Bear with me. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's playing nicely and smoothly. It's not the most interesting game to look at. You know, you've just got the same texture on the walls, the same doors. But that's the case on any version of Wolfenstein. It's an old game. It's a lot older than, well, not a lot, but it's older than Doom, which is far more interesting. But we do get the music on this.
It seems to be pretty typical of all the versions, though, doesn't it? It's not bad. It's just
it's just Wolf 3D, and games have moved on, even by the Jaguar.
So, do you think the Jaguar was pushed to the full potential?
Well, we mentioned earlier that a lot of companies just went to use that 68,000 chip. This is an example of a game perhaps doesn't push it to its full potential, but it does use some of its 3D capabilities. You wouldn't see this on an Amiga 500, would you? You would see similar games on an Amiga 1200, but probably in a letterbox, unless it was accelerated.
This was maybe on Archimedes. I think Archimedes.
So on the 1200 you had games like Gloom, but again that did need to be accelerated. So this is an example of using some of the power, but you know, games like Bubsy is an example of somewhere between the 16 and 32 bit. It's using, you know, this is a powerful 2D machine for sure.
I mean, just to be fair for the console itself, it never really had the support all the time to get the games that
it didn't.
Exemplary showing. And if you think of all of those, even Commodore 64s, BBC Micros, Amigas, whatever it was, at the end of their life cycles, they always have really amazing games as the programmers really get to grips with the tool set. And you know, you're just seeing here, just not even tech demos really. They're just.
What you often find is, yes, there's a homebrew scene that comes out, and there is one for the Jag because the encryption keys are available, the decryption keys, encryption keys for both the CD and the cartridges. And you find there are programmers out there who know how to do some great tips and tricks, but it's not the same as having an entire team back in the day, you know, to do all the art, to do all the music. You end up with a good tech demo, don't you?
Yeah, it must have taken dozens and dozens of people when you got to just consoles.
And I think we'll see some examples of that on the Falcon, because not many games were made for the Falcon. It was only out for a year, so there has been a lot of homebrew for it, and there are some really good highlights, but some of them just don't feel like complete games.
Well, I mean, as a sort of segue to that, would you like to talk a little bit about something that's coming up in our podcast?
Oh yes, we have a podcast. You may know about it. I put a few episodes on YouTube, but YouTube is really not the place for podcasts. I know it's a video streaming service.
It's a good way of annoying your subscribers.
It is a good way, but I had to put it out there and let you guys know about it. So it now resides on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Play. And we have a couple. We've just had Ravi Abbott from the Retro Hour podcast. He was a great guest. We had the Beast from Cortex, who told us an amazing story about cracking and piracy in the 90s. Well worth a listen. And we've got some really interesting guests. So our next guest, who we're meeting Monday, is Matt. And Matt developed a game called Tanglewood on the Sega Mega Drive. It's a brand new game that's just gone gold. And the entire development process was done on original dev kits, or an original dev kit. So we're really looking forward to finding out about that. And then following that, we have Mark from a demo group called Anarchy, who were quite big on the Amiga scene. I don't know, were they big on the Atari scene? Do you remember Anarchy?
I don't remember. I was not switched on to the scene like you and Neil. Living in London, we weren't exposed to it.
So I'm walking around in circles here. I'm really not paying attention. So Mark from Anarchy, we've had the stories from the piracy scene. We're going to get the stories from the slightly less dodgy demo scene.
I suspect there'll be some
I think there may be, some overlap there. So yeah, 2 really good episodes coming up, I hope. Yeah. And check out SoundCloud. I haven't put the link anywhere. I'll put the link up later.
I'll put the link there as well.
It's called Retro Island Diskettes. And it's done well. The Beast episode actually hit number 6 in the UK podcast tech charts. There with BBC Click. Now, granted, that was for a couple of days and then it disappeared again. But it's a sign of things to come, I hope. And I, regardless of how many people listen to it, I really enjoy making those episodes.
I think they're a lot of fun. And, it's nice to speak to people and really get to hear their story.
Yeah.
As well. And if you want to do some research before the episode, go onto YouTube, type in Matt Phillips Tanglewood. He's a great, I think it's Computer File. Do you ever watch Computer File?
Yes, yeah.
I can't remember which university is, maybe Cambridge, somewhere like that. If you want to get the background really on how he's coding these things up, and if you're anyway slightly interested in how to make a game, this is let's say one person who's doing everything. It's going to be fascinating.
Yeah. And I heard they mentioned on the Retro Hour just last week that it went gold. The cartridges arrived in a crate to his house so that he could package them up and send them off. And they just had to leave it on his lawn because it was too big to get.
When you say crate, you're talking a crate with a wooden crate.
A shipping crate that was So he had to unload all the cartridges individually and take them into his house.
That's brilliant. So we were discussing a little bit about the having to make physical cartridges and all of that. There's a lot of effort going into
huge
that.
amount of effort. Ash says Tanglewood looks great. Yeah.
It does. There is a demo.
Yeah. So guys, if you're ready, I am ready to switch over to the Atari Falcon and we will do another lap of all of the guests. We'll try lots of games and let you see how the Falcon performs. Give us a yes or a no. Let us know in the chat if you want some hot Falcon action.
No, we should just scan through. We've been missing so much of this top chat here, but hopefully you've been talking among yourselves.
Yeah. Electron Ash mentions the CD-TV there. That's another computer which really frustrated me when it was released. Like the CD32, it was like, why Commodore? Why have you bought this out? There's no need for this.
It was weird though, wasn't it? You just didn't. It was kind of like the Wii U.
It was an Amiga 500 in a hi-fi separates box, basically, with some added MIDI ports. But now I really want one.
You can't have it. But would you?
I really want one.
Would you have? Something we just didn't touch on. We spoke on I think many times in the past about these minis. Would you want a Jaguar Mini?
would I want a Jaguar Mini? Put this out to the chat as well. Would you like a Jaguar Mini? It's difficult with the minis because Nintendo and Sega lovers, there were millions of them, and there's going to be a demand.
Yeah.
They know if they make them, they're going to sell them. The Jaguar, they didn't sell so well, or they sold well, but the supply wasn't there to meet the demand, and then it tailed off because other products came out. So people would be buying it more out of curiosity than out of nostalgia. Personally, yes, I would buy it.
Just because it has an Atari name.
Just because it'd give me a chance to explore a system I haven't before, and hopefully they would do it in a way that's either really, really well emulated, or FPGA, or whatever the best way of doing it these days is.
I think if they were going to risk it though, I would be punting out an Atari ST Mini.
Well, there is there's the Amiga, which is like an FPGA Amiga, and I think you can put an ST core on it.
But I'd like the whole little case, like the Commodore 64.
Oh, like the little pie cases behind you there. Yeah. Okay, I think everybody has said they're happy to go over to the Falcon. So what we're going to do is we're going to mute the mic. We're going to give you a little interlude while I go and swap the cables over, and we'll get the Falcon ready. Okay, back very shortly, guys.
Have you played Atari today?
And comes Daddy again. Won't see many wrestling holes in this one.
I'm going to tell you how it's going to be. With Scotch's lifetime guarantee. Take what you want both night and day. Then re-record, not fade away. Re-record, not fade away. Re-record, not fade away.
Every recording as good as the first, or we'll give you a new tape. You can watch Scotch forever.
Re-record, not fade away.
You'll become yourself. You'll find success. Old Spice. The classic fragrance. The mark of a man.
The telephone is connected to the telephone network with a British Telecom plug, and I simply remove the telephone jack from the telecom socket and plug it into this box here, the modem. I then take another wire from the modem and plug it in where the telephone was. I can then switch on the modem and we're ready to go.
Have you played Atari today?
Okay, how are we doing? Hello again, everyone. We've got no signal on the Falcon. Andrew will entertain you while I check the cables.
I'll entertain you. I'll read out some of the comments, shall we? There's some discussion about FPGA work, because we know that certainly Electron Ash likes playing with those. He's in the middle of all sorts of projects that he's tweeting about. Oh, Atari. Now,
Yeah, we've got it.
In the later Atari STEs, at least my one, when you change to the later TOS, you get this memory.
You can skip it if you hit the space bar.
No, I like to watch it. Because if you've got extra memory, it gets confused and keeps going on and on.
Okay. Yeah, the reason we had a problem there was because the sync stripper that I use, it can take the power from the SCART cable, the 5 volts.
Ah.
The Jag gives 5 volts, the Falcon doesn't, so I had to put a power cable in. That's all it was. Right,
Wow,
we have a Falcon, and I think we need to get the owner of the Falcon
need to get young
back,
Gary
which
out.
is young Gary.
Oh, can I just have one?
Oh, you've
little...
never used a Falcon, have you?
Oh, it's so nice.
Do you want me to give you 5 minutes?
No. That's it. That's enough. I saw one of them on eBay and it went for like 1,200 quid, and I was like, no, you will never be mine.
So yes, Gary, come and join us. Howard, is there another bottle of water somewhere you can grab me?
Thank you. Hang in there.
You did.
Sorry.
Come on.
Boom!
Yes.
Now, as a Falcon newbie, come a bit closer there.
Yep.
There are some things on chat which you may be able to help with. Like somebody says, "Ooh, can you show us the work screen?" Does that mean anything to you?
Work screen?
The
What?
work screen?
Do they mean this screen? The screen we're on right now?
Well, let's make that full screen. There we go. So again, the Falcon is going through a pretty cheap upscaling system. So if there's any artifacting on the screen, apologies. That's my system. It's not the Falcon. Oh, thank you.
Your water, my lord. You are a kind sir. I love you.
So why don't you, while we talk about the Falcon, why don't you kick us off? We've played a lot of games and we will play some more games. Why don't you kick us off with a demo or something that you'd like to show off?
Okay, so do we need a proper mouse now?
Do you want me to move the Jag out the way?
Let's move the Jag a little bit. It doesn't seem to...
I'll unplug the controllers.
We probably need one of them anyway.
The Jag controllers do work on the Falcon.
They do work on the Falcon. Which is nice.
There we go.
Thank you very much,
Jag's
sir.
on the floor, don't step on it.
Oh, no.
It looks like you're quite inappropriately reaching over to me there in the picture, Gary. Less of that.
Demos. What I'm going to do, guys, I haven't actually looked at all the demos myself yet, but I'm going to play one I have watched a couple of times and I actually like. I like the music and it doesn't last too long, so okay to play now?
Go for it. We'll turn the music down a little bit so we can carry on talking while it's playing rather than just playing a demo. I'll just knock that down. Tell us if the demo's playing too loudly, guys. I'm just going to turn it down to there, or if indeed it's too quiet. Retrotech Ralph says, was the Falcon before or after the ST?
After.
It was the end of the ST range. I don't know if it's considered an ST.
Well, I definitely consider it it's part of the same timeline.
Yeah,
like the Atari ST, Falcon.
I consider it to be the ultimate ST. It's a bit like the Amiga 1200 is to the Amiga 500, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, it still has similarities, but it's massively upgraded. Yeah, that's exactly what Floating Fat Man says. Is that loud enough? Yeah. Oh, Gary's enjoying it. So, is this a demo that you would say shows the Falcon off to its best?
It's hard for me to say. I'm going to say no because I'm sure you can get a lot more out of it. But I don't know if anyone really did push the Falcon to the max. I know there's like 680, 60 demos in games out there, but did they really push the 030?
Yeah, this is an 030.
Yeah.
You can get an 060 Falcon.
You can buy an upgrade. I don't think you can make it.
Right, okay. So like the Amigas, you can upgrade it.
There might have been an aftermarket one because you see, there's another company who sold them for a while, wasn't there? A rebrand. Atari let another company sell them, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, they go for loads on eBay.
Yeah. Alex says, that sounds from an Atari, holy poop, and I agree. Even if the effects on this demo don't wow you, the music is excellent.
Yes.
And that's not... the Falcon is perfectly capable of playing an MP3 file using the DSP and the CPU, but it's probably not doing that because it's doing all of these other effects, so that is a mod file or whatever.
Yeah. But it does sound great. Yeah. It's like, I just really like this demo. I don't know what it is. I just like the effects and the music. Sometimes even a demo that's technically better might not have such a cool theme, music to it. So
all the elements have to come together to make a good demo.
It is making a good demo. It's like making a good film.
Yeah. Cool. Is that the end of the demo?
That is the end of that demo. So it's a nice short one.
Yeah. Okay, do you want to pick a game that you'd like to play?
Okay.
I think we had a look at the games list earlier, and you wanted to play, what did you choose?
Oh, I chose the demo, didn't I?
You chose the demo.
What did we choose as the high score game?
Obsession. So shall we get
Do you want
that
to set
going?
a score on Obsession?
Yes.
You've already lost once on your own game on your
I
own
know.
machine.
I mean,
See if you can do any
and
better
Howard,
this time.
who rarely games. I bought them for everyone, so eat them.
Is it okay to plug the joypad in while it's on? Or
It is
better
absolutely
to turn it
fine.
off?
Yeah, no, we don't.
Okay.
I don't think he cares.
And of course, the Falcon, like the ST, has that really annoying feature where the mouse ports are actually under the keyboard, so you have to sort of lift it up and plug in really
Done that for
awkwardly
now,
underneath.
but Obsession's a keyboard game anyway, so
Okay.
it's no probs.
10p6 is just talking about the advantages the ST and the Falcon had in MIDI, in that it had direct hardware interrupts and the Amiga did not. And yeah, that's one of the big reasons the ST was chosen as the musician's choice. And why don't you tell us where this Falcon came from, because a musician was involved.
Originally, yes, it did belong to a musician, and as far as I'm aware, it was barely used and kept under a dust cover in the guy's studio for many years.
Yeah.
And now I have it.
Sorry, Andrew is just reaching over to give me a finger. Thank you, Andrew.
Gary?
Oh yes.
You can't say no,
no.
can you, surely?
Oh no. I wasn't watching. Sorry, guys. I was looking
What
at the
happened
fingers. I don't know what happened there. I think I might have done something wrong.
Did I see cracked by someone there?
Yeah, I'm trying to quickly get past these screens. Good.
So you've told us about the history of this machine. It came from a musician. Was it anyone famous? Anyone we might have heard
I
of?
honestly never asked. I didn't know.
You didn't care. You just wanted the Falcon.
No, I saw a Falcon for sale. I got it.
And what's the spec then? We've said it's an 030. What
Yes.
else is in there?
So there's oh blimey, there's
Because it can
there's
do
14 mega RAM, I think.
I think it was up to 14 meg.
It's got 14 meg. So it's got the max memory you can have, I think, and there's obviously
You've
instead of
got a modern hard drive.
yes, so there's an SD card in there that's powering the hard drive, which is, you know, for these older systems that's always good because you can just dump loads of games on it. I use a cable.
But I noticed it's partitioned into lots of hard drives.
It has
so
to
is
be,
there an
yeah.
upper limit?
Yeah, there is. I'm not quite sure that was. I used a tool to help me do that. So I left it as the default. So I don't tend to tinker too much with stuff because I'm always nervous I'm going to make something break or something.
There could be trouble here. Dubious Engineering is logged in and is in the chat. He's gone wild.
I want to know what I win for winning the.
You want to? Oh, he wants to know what his prize is for winning.
My
the high
love and
score
admiration.
Oh, that's enough for me, Gary.
You win a Gary.
You win a me. I'll try and talk and
I
play.
missed who it was now, but somebody said how many Falcon only games were there?
There wasn't a lot. I mean, there's a lot of homebrew.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a lot of commercially released games. That was you got Llama Zap, you got like but even Raiden wasn't an exclusive. You got Towers 2, but that was on the Jaguar.
What's the driving one that Andrew wanted to play later?
Racer 2.
Racer 2.
Yeah, so that's homebrew as well. You see, it wasn't like a proper, and almost the decent devs were not English, like Sweden, etc. France, Germany, so not a lot of stuff came out of the UK, so we got a lot to be thankful for the Europeans.
Yeah. John Smith, Pinball Fantasies, Pinball Illusions. I'm not big into pinball games, but I did play those two in particular on the Amiga 500. There was also a 1200 version, there was also a CD32 version. They really did milk those games, but they were good games, so quite rightly.
Yeah, because they're both on the Jaguar as well.
Yeah. Somebody asked what the name of this game is. It's Obsession.
Obsession. This is I love this pinball game. I mean, this is also on the Atari STE, and I played this to death. This to me at the time when I was maybe in my mid-teens, this was unlike anything else I'd ever played on the Atari in terms of.
I'm not seeing a lot of sound coming from it. Is there sound?
There is. It's actually good sound, so I'm not sure what we've done there. So I'm not sure if we've inadvertently.
Can I put the headphones on, see if you can hear anything?
I will die. Hang on. Oh, you made me die.
Yeah, Simon Johnny. Pinball Fantasies, you could just put the mod files on and listen to the music all day, couldn't you? Great tracks.
I may have inadvertently turned the sound off once upon a time when I played it. I'm not sure.
So you can see the VU bar here. If there's any sound, it will pop up there, obviously. No, are you guys in the chat hearing any sound for this game? It would be very odd for it to be a pinball game with no sound.
No, it has really good sound. This is one of the reasons. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quit, just quickly, guys.
Okay, so I'll register you with a 0 score then.
No! I want to see if I can get the...
He is.
Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Sorry, everyone. I was just trying to see if there's like a menu screen or something.
Oh, don't worry too much about it.
All on, so I'm not really sure what's happening, guys.
But they could hear the prepare music, so it's not the streaming setup. It's obviously just something with this game. Okay, not to worry. Yeah, they say there's no game sound.
I'm just going to reboot everyone, just in case the demo maybe took over the whatever the sound chip or whatever and didn't release it. Although I'm sure that's not the case. But
so Falcon exclusives aside, you can run regular ST games.
You can. Some aren't compatible, but there is a tool you can get that will make it compatible. A bit like DOSBox, I guess, in the sense of like.
So is it using emulation, or does this? It's got the 030. Is there a 68,000 in there somewhere?
Don't believe so.
No, so the 030 is emulating the 68,000.
Yes. So I think there's not
some like a secondary sound chip or something that's based on a 68,000.
Not that I'm aware.
Maybe the chat can help us with that. Yeah. NaziRub1 says, "Can I emulate the Atari Falcon computer?"
There is. If you do a search Atari Falcon emulate, there is one. But
Gary's answer is Google it.
I haven't emulated it much myself. It's not Steam. It's one of the other ones. I can't remember the name now, unfortunately. But there is one that does it.
Baza, it's a compact flash card hard drive replacement.
No, it's not. I don't know what's happening with the sound.
Okay, how about we don't do a high score challenge on the Falcon? We just play more games, right?
Yeah,
because we saw a lot of Tempest on the Jag, so we'll just all play lots of different games. This could be your one. Yeah, the sound there. The sound.
Hey, it's working now. Happy days.
Turn it down a little bit. There we go.
Right, here we go.
Electron Ash says the 030 is largely 68,000 compatible. A 32-bit data bus was added, so... Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It is a... Yeah, of course, it's a 68,030.
So most games are
I'm having
compatible.
a complete brain meltdown here. It's because it's hot.
Most games are compatible, but there are some that won't run, but most do.
Yeah.
I struggled mainly with running a lot of games off the disc, but that's probably due to the age of some of my stuff.
And that looks like a Toyota Celica in the background there.
Oh. Oh, yes.
So based on your experience of Falcon ownership,
yes,
would you recommend other people buy this, or
only
would you steer them towards an ST?
ST. There's more of it. I think for having a Falcon in your collection is something you want in your collection because either you're nostalgic about it because you had one, or you just really wanted one as a kid because you were an ST user and this is what you wanted but couldn't afford, for example.
Yeah.
So I think nostalgic reasons only. From a developer point of view, like we touched on briefly in the Atari video we did, I think I'd love to develop for it and try and do something that really kicks ass. Other than that, there's just not enough on it. Yeah, there's just not.
Fairfight says, do you ever worry about busting the keyboard? Is there a membrane under there? It's not a mechanical keyboard?
It's not a mechanical keyboard.
No, so have you ever replaced the membrane, or
no?
Ever given you
only Atari ST I did once, yeah. But
are they available for the Falcon? Are they the
not
same?
Not that I've looked, or to be honest with you, I bet an Atari ST one will fit.
Yeah.
I bet you.
Are there accelerator cards for the ST to convert it to a Falcon?
Not that
I don't know if there's one specifically for the Falcon, but if you know of the Amiga Vampire card, there is one. They are developing a ST Vampire, so there's a lot of power coming your way if you have an ST. And no doubt, we were talking about the prices of systems. As soon as a vampire hits, I can guarantee you the prices of STs are going to skyrocket. Yeah. A big welcome to Monster Joysticks, monsterjoysticks.com, a very kind sponsor of the channel. If you haven't checked out their joysticks, do check out their website. And what they make is a really nice joystick that you can put your Raspberry Pi inside. So you've got a nice portable joystick with Sanwa arcade parts.
In my last life, I used to be better at this. Actually, my first go for a reset was better. Are we still doing the
John Smith says ST with AGA. Yeah, you could probably, when there is an ST Vampire, you could probably put an Amiga core on it. That would confuse people. Run your ST as an Amiga 1200. How you doing? Have you?
I'm completely dead.
You're done. You're done. Before we swap over, before you go,
yes.
You made a new acquisition today, didn't you?
I did. Yes, I did.
Tell everyone what you bought for your collection.
I now own a Sharp X 68000 Pro, which Andrew Dalton, Mr. Dalton, acquired for me from one of his friends. So it's in my car in this box, and I'm looking forward to getting it home and playing with it.
68,000. I'm very jealous.
Yes, but I have said to you can have it on the show, didn't I?
Yeah. So we may do an episode on that, but it's a beautiful looking machine, isn't it? Really nice.
Yeah,
Japanese machine.
It's Japanese only. So that's.
And it came with a really nice boxed copy of New Zealand Story.
Yeah, and I've got
on our 5 1/4 inch floppy disk.
Yes, I got another game with it as well, which I can't remember which one.
Lots of shoot 'em ups for that system,
yes,
aren't there?
I like shoot 'em ups. That's a good thing.
And lots of slightly sexy Japanese games
lots
for
of
that
sexy
platform.
Japanese
Is
games,
that something you're looking to explore?
Maybe not. No. Well, actually, if anyone's in chat and who wants to come on Discord or is on Discord already, who would like to help me source and set up a flashcard reader for it, what's it called? Smart.
Yeah, so Gary wants to put a hard drive inside his X68000,
yes, but
based on a compact flash or SD card.
Compact flash.
I know a lot of people use compact flash because it is IDE compatible.
Yes.
It's built to be, and SD needs a little bit more
yes.
work, so it's usually compact flash. So if anyone knows about X68000 compact flash conversions, do let us know. And Gary will be back to say goodbye, and we're going to have Andrew join us again now for some more Hot Falcon action. And while he comes over, I'm just going to switch a light off over here, which is bouncing off my head just here. Oh, Andrew, thank you. Yeah, if you can flick that off.
See you guys, thank you.
Yeah, Andrew, come and grab a seat. Heron and Chips has nicknamed this stream Carry On Streaming.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, the switch is on the... Oh, you got it. You got it. Yeah, the light's still bouncing off my head, but never mind.
Do you want me to get a cloth for you?
No, it's not sweating. It's just bold. Andrew, you need to pick a game. We've lost Gary. How does this work?
We'll need Gary to keep appearing
Gary,
and driving this for us.
Quit, yes or no? Right. So Gary, if you grab the mouse over here.
What we're doing in between games, we're going to reset just in case.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, Andrew has picked the game Racer 2.
Oh.
I know where to find that. So.
Fine choice, sir.
Thank you.
So Racer 2 is very much like Lotus.
Well, that's why I picked it. Being like yourself, Neil, I was a big Amiga fan back in the day, and Lotus was the pinnacle of racing. But Lotus 2 was better than 3.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. Lotus 3 got a bit crazy. You had those sort of checkerboard fantasy tracks and things, didn't you?
Yeah, you could make tracks with passwords.
Yeah. Wasn't a big fan of that. Racer 2. Here we go.
Let's have a look.
Racer2.prg. Let's see if this works. And again, guys, tell us if it's too loud. But there are some fun sound effects on this one.
Keeping on some shoulder buttons.
Yeah. There you are in your Ferrari. Racer 2 should be ported to the Jaguar. Bazza says back office. I hope you pick up carrier command. Lol. Becky says Lotus 123 was the best.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to do your finances, it's probably a lot better than Lotus Turbo Challenge. Vroom, yeah, that was quite a good game.
And I've actually got a copy of that there. Not the original version of Revs.
Revs over there, yeah, that's a good game.
Big fan of that on the BBC back in the day.
Yeah, Lotus 2 does have an amazing soundtrack.
Yes.
And there are some similarities in the soundtrack. I just think some of the instruments in this are trying to be Lotus-like. Is it starting? Do you know?
No.
Do you need to be in the other joystick, Paul? What about the...
Tried it.
Not doing anything.
Gary!
Gary, can we have some technical support, please?
You can't make it work.
Why not, Never?
So, while Gary's looking at that, Andrew, we mentioned earlier that you used to work at Digital Equipment Corporation.
Many years ago.
When was that? I did play on the Jagpad, yeah. Might have been the other four. Yeah, when did you work at Digital?
About 1998. It was one of my first jobs. I worked on the internal help desk there.
Okay.
It was quite a good grounding in the world of computers. They were a wonderful company to work for. Absolutely wonderful. They were all about the technology. Maybe that was their downfall. They were all about R&D and technology and learning.
Yeah.
And but their sales not so good, but their equipment was fantastic.
Yeah.
They had so much interesting stuff around the office. Sort of experimental versions of software from Microsoft that were
sort of thing.
Well, Windows Server 2000 in 1998.
Oh wow! Okay.
And that was running on Alpha.
Yeah.
That they had there. We had a UK Ultimate Node in the office.
Oh, okay.
Which was very good. You couldn't go in. You could see it through glass. It was in a glass room.
Yeah.
But you weren't allowed in there. But that was very interesting. Walls and walls of discs at the time.
Yeah.
But the company, like I say, all that learning, very good atmosphere, lots of partying going on. I remember the day when they announced the compact board deck back in the day. And they had a bouncy castle. The way the office used to work in the UK headquarters was two sort of very large open plan offices with a strip up the middle they called the street, and it was about as wide as a street. And they had like a New Orleans jazz band playing when they were bought. They had bouncy castles, barbecues outside, and just crates of this big party. I left shortly after.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, a lot of the guys lost their jobs when they shut the office. And,
so compact just sort of streamlined the office.
Exactly.
No doubt, cut all the R&D. Yeah.
It was. It really was. It's a real shame because the hardware was just amazing. Even their desktop PCs and laptops were excellent.
That one.
This one is it?
Yeah, that's why actually you loaded the wrong one, I think.
So we've got Gary just out of shot here, just telling us how to do it. Racer 2?
Yeah, that's why. That explains that. Good.
I must say, it's my first time ever using a Falcon. It was always I'm surprised my hands won't burn, sort of playing this, being such a big Amiga fan back in the days. It was the enemy machine.
The Antichrist. Skip this,
Yeah, all right.
So let's make the gameplay full screen for you. There we go. I'm amazed, as I'm sure many of you are, at my ability to type in the chat room there without using my hands. That's Mr. Armstrong over there moderating the chat for us. Sorry, Dr. Armstrong. I stand corrected. The man in the orthopedic
That's interesting.
shoe.
The timer counts down before the green light.
Okay, we're racing now. So this engine reminds me of the later versions of Road Rash.
It does.
So on like the PC, or
certainly.
Do you remember the inline skate version of Road Rash? Sketchy.
I think I do. Interesting. It's a bit Lotus, but it's very Road Rash.
Yeah, or a bit like the early Need for Speed, but with you've obviously got sprites instead of 3D cars. The thing I don't like about it is when you crash, you'll see what happens. You come to an immediate stop when you hit any of the signs. Just like that. It just completely throws you off.
Also, it doesn't seem to be any animation around the car itself. So there's no sort of skid marks on the road, no when I accelerate hard, smoke.
Yeah.
Like that. But didn't you say this was
this was homebrew apparently.
Yeah. So it's impressive. It's impressive for homebrew.
And incomplete, Gary says. Yeah.
Yeah. So when the Falcon came out, it was discontinued after 1 year, 1992 to 1993. And I think around then the writing was kind of on the wall. We knew the PCs were going to become the standard. And Atari then put all of their efforts into the Jag because the Falcon was before the Jaguar.
Yes.
I think they made the right decision.
I think I don't know really. That's interesting.
Yeah, you have to reverse. Yeah, so great decision to get out of the market.
I think so, to be honest.
I think Jack Trammell had a heart attack a few years after that, so I think he was certainly finished.
I think the problem with the Ataris was they just never really cracked the. Well, same as the Amiga though, never really cracked the business side of the market.
Yeah. Do you have another race? See a bit more of this. Can you pick another track?
Yeah, that's what we can do. They never really hit the business side of the market. They were very good for music. They were very good for graphics.
Yeah.
But once PCs and once people kind of got it into their mind that it was acceptable to pay £1,000 for a computer, PCs started catching up quite significantly then.
Yeah.
But you've got to remember that back in the day that this and any other computers that came out like this at the time, they were incredible value for money. One of my first jobs was working in a PC dealer only a few years after this, and how much you would pay just for a peripheral or a component would buy your whole machine.
Yeah,
that would do so much. And it really is just a shame that the curious part of me would like to have seen where they would have gone had they had it have carried on. Would we have had this sort of 3-4 horse race that we had then? I mean, now we've only really got sort of Apple and Microsoft as in the Windows element of it. I know we've got all the Linux variants which are very good, but it really does seem to be sort of a race between Apple and Microsoft for sort of the desktop experience. Sort of interesting to see where where they'd have gone. But then again, maybe would they have just concentrated on the home console market?
We mentioned earlier the Atari VCS on Indiegogo and your Kick Scammers work with Dan. Have you ever backed anything on Indiegogo that you're willing to admit to us?
I've never actually backed any Kickstarters except a couple of books, so nothing too much like that. The biggest issue I have with a lot of the Kickstarters and these kind of things is if they were a great idea I'd say for 99% of it, they would get private equity funding.
That's one way of looking at it.
That's the way I feel about it. They'd get private equity funding from someone with more money than God, who would just say, yes, here's $10 million, $20 million to get your product to market. And these are people who look at things sensibly and do the due diligence. But I think, I don't know, I think there's a lot of tat and there's a lot of people out there looking to make, it's the dream, come up with a big idea to get rich, but there's so much stuff that isn't actually that good. The Atari, I don't know, we'll see how it goes, but to me it doesn't look anything that special.
I'm amazed how much money it's raised. I didn't know there would be such a demand.
It's riding on the name though, isn't it?
And they've timed it pretty well, I guess, with what was the movie that came out, Ready Player One.
Very much so.
You know, Ready Player One with the Atari billboards and the Blade Runner as well, the second Blade Runner with the big. So the name is, you know, as dominant as it's been for a very long time.
It certainly is. It's just, but it is riding. It is riding the past, and you need to ask the question of what are they going to do to innovate?
Yeah. So, what did you think of that?
That was pretty good, actually.
In the chat,
I thought.
Was it a cat's law, something like that? Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name right. It says this might not be a popular opinion, but it was nowhere near as good as Lotus Turbo Challenge on the Amiga.
I would say it wasn't as good as Lotus Turbo. It would be nice to have played Lotus Turbo on this if we'd have had it.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
To do a comparison, but I would say for a homebrew game, it's very good. I think if this had come out back in the day, as we say, this would have been a 65-70% in a magazine.
Yeah, I agree.
But, you know, better than average, but not brilliant.
Yeah. Good. Well, thank you, Andrew.
That's right.
We have Mr. Andrew Armstrong joining us next.
Dr. Armstrong.
Oh, I keep saying it. Dr. Armstrong. He's worked hard for that title. Dr. Armstrong,
Come and join us.
Proctology degrees don't come easy.
Now, I think we're just going to reset this. And, can
scared
you
it
remember
might-
the name of the game that you've chosen?
I would like to play Raiden.
Raiden? Okay.
Yeah.
It's an arcade game, wasn't it?
It is. It was a vertical scrolling shooter, and it used to be in the narrow, twisty monitor format. So I don't know how it's
Portrait view, yeah.
Oh, well, technical terms. Portrait view.
Landscape and portrait, yeah. I remember when I was making a MAME cabinet once, for ages I deliberated over how I might make the CRT rotate, because some of those old cabinets were made, you had a big circular piece of wood and you could just spin it to,
or exactly square.
Yeah, but I played so few portrait aspect games that I didn't put it into the cabinet.
I've got a Phoenix cocktail cabinet I'm restoring at the moment, and that effectively is a portrait.
Okay,
but because it's two players.
Does it split it down the middle?
I don't know yet. Because it's
I know
still
you can set MAME to split it down the middle, can't you? Or to just.
I wonder if it rotates
when the players swap, it flips the image, doesn't it? Yeah.
But as of yet, I don't know. Still changed all the caps in it, but
I'm going to go for the one that's called Click Me. I think that seems like.
Yeah. It sounds like the natural
Alice in
choice.
Wonderland, isn't it? Drink me, eat me, click me. We've got an Atari logo.
There we go. That'd be a good T-shirt. Eat me, click me, drink me. No.
Right, I've been neglecting the chat. Let's keep an eye on this.
But Neil, you keep giving these headphones. I don't hear anything in these. You sure they're even plugged in?
There's nothing at the moment. We should see something on the UV meters here. I did turn it down because someone said that the music was too loud, and we've just reset it, so there shouldn't be anything holding up the audio.
Well, hopefully the boys and girls at home can hear it. No, I'll watch it again later.
Cracktro time, yeah. We've seen quite a few cracktros. Definitely.
But isn't that interesting? If there's cracktros on the Falcon, were they cracked at the time, or were they retrospectively cracked?
Who knows? You've just dropped an atomic bomb immediately.
Wasted that.
Yeah, there is sound. Again, on the chat, let us know if you need to turn the sound up. It looks a bit low on my levels, but maybe different for you.
I'm going to say, having played this on lots of formats, it's already starting to look a little bit weak.
Really?
Yeah, this could be better. It almost feels like it's just a port from a 16-bit version.
It may well be. We'll have to ask Gary if it's just an ST version.
But it might have some banging soundtrack that we're not privy to. God, not doing well at all.
You've been doing some work on a BBC Micro lately, haven't you, on your channel?
I have. And
before I talk about that, because I know you've done an upgrade to it, what's your stance on upgrading machines like the Falcon, like an ST? What's the limits for you? How far would you go?
Okay, so back in the day when I had an Amiga, I did the whole Blizzard, I think it was called, booster thing, and the Ethernet card, the accelerators.
Yeah.
I think as long as you're kind of using the original CPU and bus,
right,
then it's legit.
So you're not a fan of the Vampire then?
No.
Okay.
And I'm not a fan of the ripping something out and putting a Raspberry Pi in its place.
Sure.
If it's something that's dead, like you've got a dead Commodore 64, you've got nothing to lose at that point, then that's great. You're actually...
Yeah, if you've just got a shell of a system and no way of fixing it.
Yeah. It makes me shudder when I see people doing that decent stuff. And if you actually go on things like Etsy,
okay,
sometimes people are doing stuff where they're taking machines and then just gutting them and making them into pencil cases and things.
Yeah. So, someone says, is that scan lines? No, I think that's just the wheat field effect. It looks like scan lines.
Yeah, and those watching, it is really hard. I know I'm not great at games, but it's brutal.
Monster Joystick says, say hello to Trevor. Trevor is around here somewhere. I think Trevor probably needs to say hello.
Trevor.
Let me find him.
While you're finding Trevor, though, I'll just mention, so the BBC Micro upgrades, though, tend to be quite sympathetic to the hardware in that they are upgrades that use the existing ports. So the one, if you use the PiTube Direct, that goes onto the tube interface on the Beeb, so you get acceleration through standard stuff. But what's insane about the Beeb is the level that you can upgrade it in the original hardware. So you can get all your 4,000 colours on screen, acceleration, all of that pretty much still with the same main board. So that's legit to me, doing that.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Have you, the latest upgrade that you... So what's the stock speed of the 1981 BBC Micro?
I think it's like 3 megs.
3 megahertz?
Like yeah.
And what's the speed you took it up to?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Something like 230 megahertz.
Yeah, it's something like that. It might even be more.
Yeah,
I think it could be more.
You did it using something called a Pi Tube.
The Pi Tube Direct.
Tell us about that.
So the Pi Tube Direct is a hardware emulation of the Pi interface, which you could get back in the day on the Beeb to give you a second 6805 processor, or whatever processor you can shove in the box. And this runs on a Raspberry Pi. It's a little hat. There's only level converters on it. It doesn't really have any real hardware. Just shoved it in. And it can emulate any number of add-on cards that are available for the BBC. And it doesn't run Linux. It's just bare metal ARM Cortex. Oh, ARM, yeah, it is Cortex on those coding. And one of them is actually I think it comes up as a 286 PC, but I think effectively it's a 186 because it doesn't have like an MMU or something. But so you could technically run Windows or maybe 3.1 on your Beeb. It'd be insane.
BBC Micro. Ash is just corrected there. It's 2 megahertz stock, but it's insane that the BBC Micro. It was built with with that in mind to have these add-ons. It was built. It wasn't like your ZX Spectrum. It was built very differently to that. It was built for the educational market, obviously, but they built so much into it, so much so that they developed the ARM chip on it, didn't they? No doubt using the same sockets that you plugged your Pi into.
I don't want to go ranty, so I'm not going to.
Okay.
But I think when you look at computers from back in the day, machines that had expansion ports that came out on the PCB, just the edge of the PCB, an edge connector.
Yeah.
For me, they're the ones that are always that bit weaker home machines. Okay. Whereas when you look at the forget the STs. When you look at the BBCs and the Archimedes, things with real ports following real standards, that means they were engineered.
Yeah, like the processor sockets that you see in the RISC PC and the Acorn Archimedes.
Or even the MSX, for that matter, really. It's got any number of these sort of more serious machines you've got here that would have been in universities. It was...
Okay.
What is that?
From serious machines to Trevor. Here we go. So I'm sure you've all seen Trevor. He was in my video on Friday. Trevor is a very special joystick. And he's still smiling. He's still smiling. We played Daley Thompson's Decathlon with him.
You waggle him.
Yeah, he loved it. So Trevor says hello.
It looks like the bottom of a sort of more traditional one.
Do you reckon that'll work in a Falcon?
It would, but it would have to go under this support here.
Okay, right, well, let's turn it off. We're going to try Trevor on the Falcon if you fancy that. Is that alright, Gary?
Yes.
Let me check the box. The box says interface sold separately for Commodore 64 and Amstrad Atari. Trevor doesn't like Ataris, and who can blame him?
So what's the bottom off though? It's a bottom off a standard.
Bottom is a standard joystick, and inside it's just like a 2600 joystick. And then you just sort of stroke him and very quickly develop RSI.
That'd be quite good, like a sort of a virtual mouse, where you just.
Yeah, people commented on the video that it would make for a good replacement joystick for people with disabilities. Possibly.
Well, there we go.
But,
I'm sure they've got better options.
I'm sure they've got better options than Trevor. We'll pop him back in the box.
I do like the holes in the box there, just to make sure he's aired out.
Did he? Yes, he did eat the piece of lettuce I left in the box, Mr. PGT.
Magical, Trevor. That's right. The tricks he does are ever so clever.
Richard says, get port extenders for your Falcon. I mean, that makes sense, Gary. Oh, he has got some. So. There we go. We'll just pop Trevor on top of the Falcon.
On the heatsink.
There you go. Yeah, I think we should probably swap over and put another game on so we can see some more Falcon, if that's okay with you, Andrew.
That's all right with me. I have to say that, but just before I go, when I saw the sort of gem type screen on that, looked awesome. Everything.
Yeah.
This game is bad.
The game is bad, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't look like anything special to me.
No.
I know it's going through some chunky systems to be captured, but it still looked even more washed out than some of the other games. I couldn't hear the sound. I don't know if the audio made up for it a little bit, but
if you look at the spec, and people at home maybe could comment while I go away, but the spec Raiden was an arcade machine, right?
Yeah.
And it would have had probably similar hardware.
Yeah.
So you think, come on, guys.
Yeah. And the ST wouldn't have been short of shoot 'em ups, good shoot 'em ups, like Gemini Wing, like Swiv, like all of those kind of games. Yeah, a little bit disappointing. Let's hope
you
the next
should
game's a bit
never
better.
meet your heroes.
We've got Howard back next. So
Howard,
come and join us. Howard is
he's miles away.
Your price is right. Yeah,
Howard, I'm sitting here keeping it warm for you. There you go.
Oh, thank you.
Before it cools down.
Can you do me a favour? Can you grab another chair and bring Vicky over for me, please?
Oh, Vicky's joining us.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to put this on again. Now you've chosen Double Bubble, which is a Bubble clone, which immediately doesn't make me think, oh, this game's going to use the Falcon to its full abilities.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be pretty special to be a Bubble clone that uses the full 68030.
Right, try not to push you off the screen there. If I.
Yeah, Vicky, squeeze in so you're on the camera.
I keep going. There we go. I keep going. There we go.
Mark says PC Engine version of Raiden is far superior. PC Engine has some great shoot 'em ups on there.
Cool. So look at this then. This is the Atari Falcon. So this is quite a special and famous computer. And you can see there the desktop on the screen.
Can I grab the joypad?
The joypad. The pad of joy.
We need Gary here. I'm wondering if it's this one with the TOS extension. Let's see if that's what we need to run. And you'll want the headphones as well.
Yeah. Is that for the music?
Raiden was never released on the Falcon. It was an unfinished demo. Right, that explains some of its shortcomings, I'm sure.
Well, hello everyone. Hello everyone again. Lovely to see you all there. Yeah, say hi.
Retrotech Ralph, yes, you can play ST games on the Falcon. There's a utility, Gary says, to make some of them playable, but some of them just won't work. But I think a lot of them will. Is that right, Gary?
Oh,
I haven't tried a lot myself.
Okay.
So,
I have a proper
Gary has an ST, so there's not really any need for him to try.
Double Bubble. So we want you to play Double Bubble. Hopefully you'll be able to figure out the controls for it.
Play the beat. You have a Raiden Jag cart. How is it on the Jag?
It doesn't work.
It's not working.
Not working? Gary, do we need to do something to make the pad work on Double Bubble?
It allowed us to move through the menu options and select
La Casa del Occhio. Hi, greetings from Chile. Greetings.
Oh, Chile. I like your wine in Chile. Actually, I like wine from every country.
I don't think I've tried this game on the Jagpad. I think it actually takes a normal joystick.
Should we go for another game?
You can either go for another game or plug in your Falcon.
We'll just go for another game, mate. Yeah, let's fire something else up.
Annoyingly, not all the devs supported the Jagpad.
Oh.
Why?
Games have to support the Jag controller. Yes, that's what Gary was just saying. So the Jag controller is a little bit different to normal joysticks.
Boo.
Okay. Let's see what other games we've got. Any you recommend, Gary? Should we go for a Jeff Minter one?
Yeah, that will work on the Jaggy Pad.
Which one's that? Llama Zap?
Yeah.
Of course.
It's worth showing.
Llama Zap?
Yeah.
That's another one of Vicky's favourite subjects.
Llamas?
She loves alpacas and llamas.
There you go then.
So, yeah, you're going to enjoy this game, I think,
just
my lovely.
Then, I think.
Yeah? Just press the A button. You can just be AAA, I think.
Oh,
okay, that'll do it. And then go to OK in the bottom right-hand corner there.
Gary, do you mind just swiveling the camera a little bit towards Vicky? Just so she's in shot. There we go. Perfect.
There. What about poor poor Neil. Neil's
oh,
out
I've been on the
showing.
camera plenty enough. So Howard, you mentioned you had the Electron in the 80s and 90s.
Yes,
or in
indeed.
the 80s.
Yes, indeed.
Is there any system from the 80s or 90s that you always wanted but you never got hold of?
Atari ST.
Atari ST for you?
Yeah.
What was
that
it
was
about
the,
that
that was
system?
the 68,000 processor, wasn't it? That was in the ST.
Yep.
And it just had a load of games that were particularly good. That Xenon 2,
Xenon
I
2,
think,
yeah.
was on the Atari
Xenon
ST.
2
That's
Mega
one.
Blast,
Mega
yeah.
Blast, yeah, with Bomb the Bass, the music from Bomb the Bass. Yeah, that was the machine that I fancied. But yeah, for whatever reason, didn't get into it. Didn't get it. I think too busy playing the guitar or something like that.
Oh, okay. That was your hobby, was it?
Yeah.
Did you ever integrate computers at all in your guitar playing? Because I know you have a studio now, don't you, up in your loft?
I do.
And you've got a PC set up there where you record a lot of music.
Yeah.
Is that a more recent thing, using the PC? Did you use specialist audio hardware, or did you have a PC?
I did. I had we had keyboards and 8 tracks and stuff like that, to record all of the music. So yeah, little mobile studios and that kind of stuff. Pretty basic, and everything was very noisy and very hissy, because if you punch down some of the mixes, every time you punch down another mix, it would add another layer of noise over the top of everything else. But so yeah, at the moment, the equipment that I use is a computer with Pro Tools, and Pro Tools is fantastic. It's I bought and paid for the license for it, and I have a mixing desk upstairs with many inputs on it, and I can record. I've got a couple of lovely Electret microphones up there, Rode microphones, and some other bits and bobs. So I really enjoy putting music together, but never actually use any of my own music on my own YouTube channel.
No,
which
you do pop a credit up when you use music. I think
I do, absolutely.
You use some of your friends' music, don't you? But none of your own. Wow. What did you make of that, Vicky?
So did you get the game? Is it all good?
Know how to
Have another go.
Figure it out.
Put 50p in the slot and see what happens. Yeah. What about pinball? Have you guys ever been into pinball and that kind of stuff, or am I going off topic?
No, not at all. I went to a pinball museum in Budapest last year.
Oh yes.
And do you know what? My other half, Lily, absolutely fell in love with pinball. Hello, Lily, if you're watching. She loved it, and she wanted to play on all the machines. And but I appreciate it. I appreciate the design of the machines. And I understand that people can love pinball machines, but I'm too into video games. The pinball just doesn't appeal to me in the same way.
Well, I think with pinballs, you're stuck. If you buy a pinball machine, you're stuck with that one game, and you either have to love it forever, for as long as you've got it, whereas with video games, you have that screen that gives you the ability to be able to change out to many different environments. You can be immersive in a 3D game running around, you can shoot things up, you can platforms and ladders things, and actually those are some interesting questions. I feel like I'm turning the interview on you here a little bit, but what's your favourite type of game? If you look at shoot 'em ups, platforms and ladders, and those are the games that we're talking about. What's your genre of game that you really enjoy? I know it's trying to choose your favourite child and all of that kind of thing.
I want to put this out to the chat as well, because we've been neglecting them a little bit. Guys in the chat, let's go for favourite 90s game, any platform. Favourite game from the 90s, because that's when I did a lot of my gaming in the 90s. And actually games that really stood out, I mentioned sometimes flight sims that I was into, but another genre of games that really stands out for me is the point and click games, the Monkey Islands, the Sierra games, the Lucas games. Really enjoyed them. Indiana Jones, I mentioned earlier, Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, that's a great game. And some of the Sierra Quest games, like Police Quest, I was really into.
How about Alone in the Dark and things like that?
Alone in the Dark was good, because we were coming into the 3D era then, weren't we? And Alone in the Dark was a good one. And there was, maybe chat can help me.
Well, there's Streets of Rage has come up.
Battletoads. There was a game in the early 90s. It was published by Psygnosis. This was after Alone in the Dark. and it was a 3D horror game that used 2D backgrounds, much like Alone in the Dark, but it used like ellipses instead of polygons. It had some different way of rendering the 3D.
Okay, yeah.
And hopefully someone can tell me the name of it. And you were constantly being hunted down by a werewolf. That was a strange game. Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to pinpoint just one genre because there's too many games to be enjoyed, aren't there?
All right, let's take it all the way back. How about text adventures? Did anybody enjoy text adventures?
Okay, we're going to... Let's see. So here we've got some in chat. We've got Ultimate Underworld and System Shock.
Yeah.
They both used the same engine, and it was a great engine from Origin. And Richard Garriott, wasn't it, and his brother that headed up Origin. So Ultimate Underworld, System Shock. Railroad Tycoon was amazing.
Yes.
Followed by Transport Tycoon. If you like that, you probably like Transport Tycoon.
Command and Conquer of a sort of similar ilk, slightly.
Estatica, that's the name. Alex, thank you so much. That's the name of the game I was trying to think of. Heart of Darkness, that was a good point and click adventure. Fighting Vipers on the Sega Saturn. Infocom games. So we're talking text adventure now. Infocom games.
Yeah, the Infocom games. So absolutely. That was Alone in the Dark. Infocom.
Zork, Hitchhiker's Guide.
Hitchhiker's Guide. Zork. Yeah.
And then we had that period where you had text adventure games that were integrating graphics.
Yes, so you'd get like a little page pop up with a picture of the sort of surroundings, wouldn't you?
Yeah, there was a company called Magnetic Scrolls that brought out some really nice games. There was one based on Alice in Wonderland. I think it was just called Wonderland.
Yeah.
And that was a really nice mix of text adventure with just some beautiful graphics and like a little inventory system and a map to complement it, which it brought it up a level.
Yes.
But you were still having to use your imagination to paint the full picture.
Exactly that. Yeah. So it would give you the set, but you would exactly that. Yeah. It's a bit like reading a book. Yeah. Oh, someone's just popped up with Trade Wars.
Trade Wars.
Yeah.
You had Dope Wars as
well.
Dope Wars, a similar version to that.
I think I had that on one of my very early iPhones. Actually, Dope Wars.
Yeah.
It was difficult to play actually, but it was good on the long plane journeys.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. So how's the Vicky done here with this?
Yeah, give us your final opinion, Vicky. Would you play Llama Zap again?
No, don't like it.
Because I don't really understand how to play it.
Okay, let's get Gary back. Thank you, guys.
Sure. Thank you very much.
And we're just going to do one last thing as we come up towards 5 o'clock, which is I'm going to put out to the chat. We're going to show you what games and demos we've got on the Falcon, and we want you to choose some things that we can show you, just to see as much of the Falcon as possible. Or maybe Gary's got some recommendations. Gary, do you want to reset the Falcon and get us to the list of games and demos? Where's the D?
Where's the D? Maybe I should. I haven't even showed Andrew that.
Someone mentioned Lure of the Temptress. That was published by Virgin, wasn't it? And Westwood Studios, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Westwood Studios made that. That was an interesting one because it was point and click, but supposedly every character in the game, they had their own life, so they walked around and did their own thing even if they weren't on the screen. So if you had to find someone to complete a quest, you had to sort of
a bit like
find where they were in their night
like
and
the
day
Magic
cycle.
Night games.
Yeah, you had to go and find them. So
yeah,
that made it a bit more interesting.
I mean, if everyone can see this screen up now, other than the Star Trek and Star Wars one, because we'll get in trouble.
Shift across a little bit. Yeah, we don't want to breach copyright.
And other than Prepare, because we've already seen that one, somebody just choose one from this list.
Yeah. Or at least pick a letter, if you can't read what's on there. First one to put something out in the chat wins.
Millennium 2.2 is a fantastic game, and Deuterus that came after.
Yeah, the Beast picked the Millennium music in his podcast episode.
No one's really helping us. Yeah, the Falcon, you can take the Falcon online, yes. There are some more up-to-date browsers for it, but the main one isn't as updated frequently anymore. Actually, the guy who helps code it came into the Discord channel.
Ralph says, show the love.
Show the love.
And then we've also got Nevermind. So
Nevermind. Let's do Nevermind first, because I think the love one we tried the other day, we need to get into the right screen.
Oh, we had problems, yeah, with the love one. So Gary's checking the README file for
just in case
pointers, and it's all in French.
Yeah,
so that's really useful for you.
Thanks a lot, README. Atomic 3.5. That's what most things are packed in.
So what was this one called? Nevermind.
Nevermind.
Okay.
Nevermind.
Let's see what this can do. And yeah, again, tell us if the music's too loud. I might turn it up for a bit and just turn the mic off just to give you a full effect for a little bit. I mean, the music's all right. It's not anything a 16-bit machine couldn't pick out.
No.
This is quite nice. We've got some texture mapped 3D effects, which for the time is impressive. Maybe not on a 68030. Have a listen. I don't think the Falcon's running overclocked, Gary.
No, it's not. No, I'd like to. I don't want to overclock this one because I like having it stock. Well, stock is as much as having a different sort of hard drive, but I would like to get another Falcon. Not that's likely to happen, and upgrade it.
That Coke can. Do you remember when Winamp first came out? You could buy the or you could not buy, but you could get the visualization add-ons.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And you could get the Ally McBeal dancing baby.
Yeah.
And one of them was a dancing Coke can based on the old dancing Coke can toys you could get. You could just have your Coke can dancing on Winamp.
Visualization was huge for a while. Because I still love the old Jeff Minter stuff, the Atari ST, like Tripatron and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, have we seen enough of that one, guys? Should we do... We'll have a look at one more demo.
Should we try and get Love working?
And then we'll get one last game on. We might need to reset that.
Let's see if we can get Love working for the Retro Ralph.
Show Retro Ralph the love. And you bought your Katsumi Ninja bandana.
I did.
You didn't actually bring the game.
No, because the game only worked one in every 20 times.
Yeah.
And it only worked every time Howard cleaned it.
Yes. And it was a terrible game.
It was a terrible game. It was not worth the wait.
Is the music generated via the DSP in some cases? In some cases, yes. In that case, I really don't think it was.
No, it's just a normal mod playing, wasn't it? Just...
Milk Drop, that was a good visualizer.
Oh,
yeah, Milk Drop was the bomb.
I'm clicking all the wrong places. There we go, Gary. Well done, love. I'm just going to read the
That was a sealed copy of Wolfenstein 3D. And if you're about to tell us it was worth a huge amount of money, please don't. Please don't.
Honestly, I don't collect for monetary reasons.
Yeah, so you have a lot of sealed copies of games, but you don't collect it for monetary reasons.
They just came that way.
Why haven't you played them? Do you have another way of playing them?
No, just time.
Just haven't. Yeah, okay.
Just time. They will only run on a standard VGA monitor at 60 Hz. Ah, right, okay. So we're going to struggle with this one. Sorry. We're not connected that way.
Okay, so sorry, Ralph, we can't play Love.
Hang on, something says beer. We've got to try that.
Beer.
Okay, let's make this full screen. You gotta be careful, those headphones are dangerous,
Yeah.
Gary.
This is literally about beer.
Just refreshing the chat because it's frozen up here. Ooh, a super high resolution image there.
Willow.
Says the chat doesn't match the chat in the stream.
Delayed?
No, Ralph is just put beer, 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 and I can see that in the stream. I did just refresh my chat stream over here, so there may have been a little bit of a problem. This is quite nice.
Yeah, this is
What's the audio like there?
It's not my sort of tunage, but it sounds okay for what it is. If that makes sense. This is what I used to love about the old like 16-bit, 8-bit scenes, like obviously 30.
This is what Bono felt like doing live on.
Yeah. It's like people just used to do stuff like this just because they could and they wanted to.
Oh, look at that! We've got some digitised video.
That's kind of cool. It's like I'm drinking beer.
Bad.
Hang on.
Oh, we've got it in the oven.
What's happening? Oh, hello.
There you go. You get the 3D effects in the oven.
That looks like an Amiga demo to me there.
Yeah, there's nothing special really about that.
It's just even the colours remind me of Amiga demos from back in the day.
Nonsuch just remembers that I love Earl Grey. Wales. I'm not following you, Nonsuch. I do like a good Earl Grey, but have nothing to do with Wales. Andrew lives over in Wales.
Whoa!
A little bit of texture mapping there on the flight demo.
Too bad, actually. I mean, better than Cybermorph on the Jag.
Yeah, it does sound like 4-channel 8-bit Amiga mod music, but the power's going into the effects, into the 3D effects here. There would have been a limited amount of power for the music. I love you too, Inumio Interactive.
Peace to be. No place to be.
We've worn Gary out. This is what happens when he keeps his trousers on for too long.
This is quite a nice tunnel effect.
Amanico Stone. Yes, I am in Wiltshire.
Oh, very close. Definitely needing pizza.
Oh, Jeff Minter. Okay, you're talking about Jeff Minter. Is he based in Wiltshire? I'll go and knock on his door if he is. Does this come around to the start again?
I just think different effects. So it's like a 3D cube that's masking it.
Well, I haven't played enough games today.
Haven't you?
No. Do you want to fire me up with a game?
That's good timing. Oh, no. What, on the Falcon or Jag?
On the Falcon.
On the Falcon. Let's
Does there exist a demo of a bouncing ball on the Atari, like the famous Boing Ball for the Amiga?
Not that I can.
No.
I bet there is.
I'm sure someone
somewhere.
somewhere has made the Boing Ball for the Atari just to prove that it's possible.
If I didn't have a job, I would have looked at a lot more of this stuff. But without a job, I wouldn't have the Falcon.
Hi to a Wiltshireite that moved to Texas. Where in Wiltshire did you move from? Yeah, there was lots of Dragon Ball there, Wavetable guy.
No, did you maybe want to try the Beats of Rage and see if it's any good?
Yeah, Beats of Rage.
I don't think it's going to be very good.
It's what I think it is. Beats of Rage was an engine that was made for making beat 'em ups.
Yes, so it's like Streets of Rage, but I mean, I'm not going to hold out for much because it was coded at a demo party, I believe. Yeah, it was coded at a demo party. Yeah, silly venture.
Retrotech Ralph says, "Die Amiga, die."
Why would you say
that? Where's my moderator when I need him?
I mean, obviously, I had an Atari growing up. Atari, there you go. Sorry for the person who asked earlier.
Just pop our Amiga thing there.
Someone asked earlier which emulator could play Falcon. It's Atari. It's on this Rebeam now we're looking at. So we used to. So Launches one step if you run in VJ encounter flickering problems.
Between Warminster and Frome. Very nice, very nice. Wiltshire's a lovely place. I'm from Dorset originally, so I'm used to the countryside. I like the country. I'm not a city boy, so.
Right.
Oh, this is quite good looking already.
It's how it plays.
Max looks like he might be slow and powerful.
Yeah.
Let's go with Mandy. It's killed the other two.
Oh, Mandy, why?
Mandy. Let's have a look. Oh, that's grab.
This is. I recall that this was annoyingly coded to work on standard joysticks, so there's only one button.
Oh, I see.
Rather than Streets of Rage.
Okay.
Try,
no, I've got 2 buttons. I've got 2 buttons.
Oh.
Now this looks great. A little bit clunky in the scrolling. I don't know what you think.
Considering it has hardware scrolling, yeah.
yeah, you can see each tile clunking into the screen. But I'm sure you get used to that fairly quickly. Oh, you don't get used to the controls though. They seem to want to grab all the time. Am I doing something wrong here? That's like a special move.
That's better.
Is that better?
Well, you've took someone down.
Okay, you've got to you've got to hold a direction while you're punching. It's a bit like IK Plus.
Yeah.
Do you want to keep an eye on the chat, Gary, while I'm playing?
Yes. Yes, they do look like SNK characters. I haven't played a lot of SNK games or played them enough to know all the characters, but the art style is definitely similar.
I just punched a motorbike.
Wow, yeah, that's pretty good. Because I got this far and then died.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I love how food is randomly left in the street on these games.
My headband always increases my skill regardless of what in life I'm doing. I mean, I wore this to job interviews, like to my wedding, a christening. I'm probably going to wear it to my funeral. I just think it enhances all aspects of life.
We have 2 people in the cave here today who you haven't seen. They are Tom and Rachel. What are they doing today? Gary.
Oh, so I was reading chat. They are painting their miniatures.
Yeah, so I think Tom's got some. Is it Warhammer you're doing, Tom? Aye. Warhammer figures. What's Rachel doing?
Rachel's also doing Warhammery.
Yeah, they've
figures.
got their paints here. If you want to see and we ask them nicely, they might show you what they're working on.
John Smith, not on our wedding night. It would have been too much power on our wedding night to wear this headband.
You know she can hear you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean this is alright. This is a step up from the 16 bits.
Considering it was done at a demo coding party.
Oh, okay. So it was done
much,
in a limited amount of time. Oh, okay. Let's pop the cameras up. Let's pop the cameras up.
Oh, actually, Paul's worked. That was nice.
Okay, so this is the camera that you come around here. This is what
That's
these
definitely
guys.
more of a Discord thing.
Rachel, show the camera what you've been working on. Shall I hold that up? Or if I drop this, is it wet?
No.
Okay, so check this bad boy out. Hand painted by Rachel. Does he have a name?
Well,
Trevor.
It's a
Trevor.
Trevor, one of the Death Eater Court's big things.
Death Eater
actually
Court's
play,
big thing.
but just
give me that back.
I bet there'd be loads of people who might know this.
And then what's this?
That's one of its sort of like the next ones down in command as such, which you can play out. So they're like kind of a larger role play, and then they get down to smaller human sizes.
That's
so
cool. Nasty little hobbitses.
The
Thank you, Rachel. Tom,
sexy legs.
come and say hello. Get your face in there. Everyone say hello, Tom.
Hello.
Retrotech Ralph says that's amazing paintwork. Michael says amazing. Yeah, let's.
All I have is some legs.
This is just some legs.
Some legs.
That's sexy legs.
Okay, these are some sexy legs. What's going to go on top?
Big body.
A big, of course, a body's going to go on top of the legs.
Really nice paintwork. It looks.
Yeah, and the shading's amazing.
It's really
isn't it?
good.
There you go. You didn't come on an Atari and Jag stream expecting to see that, did you?
Nice pair of legs.
A lovely pair of legs. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, buddy.
Gary Ninja, yes, we are still going, but I think we're going to wrap it up now. I hope you've seen enough of the Atari Jaguar and the Atari Falcon. We can always get it on the channel again if you want to see more.
We live pretty close, so it's never a problem.
Yeah, and also that X68000, that shop that Gary's picked up. So when he's got used to that, and he can show us how it works.
Again, thank you already. I checked Discord very quickly after coming off stream, and I can see lots of people were already offering help, which is fantastic. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you to all the regulars, to all the new people. If you're new here, do just take a moment to subscribe. It would be great to see you again. I hope you've enjoyed it. Everyone, why don't you come and say goodbye to the stream?
Everybody pop round and say and wave.
Check the descriptions for links to those guys' channels. Give us a thumbs up. If you've just joined us late, you can rewind and watch from earlier, or this will be released in a few days' time.
Sexy Dr. Armstrong.
Hello.
Thank you to everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Chrissy, Wavetable Guy. Olivia, next time show us some coding. Gary is a coder. So with a bit more preparation, we can probably come up with something.
Because there is actually, touching on it very quickly, Stoth, there is a dedicated Falcon extension for it.
Okay.
So you can do stuff.
That makes it really accessible,
yes,
doesn't it?
It does make it very accessible. Yeah. And that's a shout out to Richard Davey as well, who does Photon? I think it's Photon, which is a JavaScript gaming library.
Okay.
A really, really big one. So.
Okay. Yeah, so thank you guys. Great to see you all here. Take care and leave a comment if you liked this and you want to see more live streaming, because this is the first time. Then I'm happy to oblige. If you think it was rubbish, let us know as well. Okay. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.